bag, yeah.
Drawer of buttholes. if there's a receptacle to put the expletive in, then you like to put the expletive into the receptacle.
Yeah, I'm with you. Also, I'm going to start using drawers more often. That's pretty good. You got a drawer full of buttholes over here.
Drawer full of pig anuses.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, here we go. Let's do this thing. We're going to count it down and have some fun. In 3, 2, 1.
Johannes, are you certain it was...
It was Jeebel's doing, Miriam. No mistake.
Hello, and welcome to Core, where we talk about video games at length. Yeah, that's what this is. I don't know what anyone else thought they showed up for, but this is absolutely, positively Core for Thursday, June 30th, 2022, the final day of the month, which feels crazy. I thought June just started. I don't know what's going on.
Happy Canada Day to everyone.
Oh, yeah, happy Canada Day.
By the time you get this, celebrating the lovely nation of Canada.
Yeah. What, anything popping up there? What's the good news in Canada?
They're not as it turns out, we love convoys, so I think there's a freedom convoy heading to my city pretty soon.
Oh,
so
sweet!
We'll be dealing with trucks and horn honking and all that stuff. So, yeah. Canada,
that's an efficacious use of gas now that the prices are higher. Is go ahead and make a convoy and then complain about it.
I think they had a good time the first 2 times they tried to come up here, so they're going for a third.
Well, you're a nice bunch of people up there.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be plenty of argument. I mean, it might be a war over here. I don't even know, man.
I don't know. Well, be safe.
We were criticized a lot for not having a strong response. I don't know. I'm like 45% worried. I live far enough away that I'd probably dodge all the conflict, but I'm close enough that if something gets out of hand, let's just say I'm gonna batten the shutters. Is that how batten down the hatches?
Batten down the
play video games. Ignore the death and death and disease and pillaging.
Hatch down the how does it go? Batten
down the hatches.
It is batten down the hatches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For some reason, that sounds wrong.
Canada!
Oh, that sounds good, though. Excellent. Well, Canadians aside, we have one with us, and we'll have all of Bo's wonderful opinions. Of course, that's me, Scott Johnson, and John Jagger also. And we're just going to dive right in because there's some things that happened this week. Yeah, that's right. We like to bring you a little bit of news and views and that sort of thing. To start with, the Steam Deck specs got tweaked, and nobody told anyone. Well, they kind of did. But they didn't make a big deal out of it. And some people freaked out and thought it meant a cut in performance on the Steam Deck, which bummed me out because I think I'm getting one this next run, this next whatever they call it, the next wave. There you go, wave, that's it. And they are doubling or tripling production, so new waves should be coming soon. But Valve says this will not impact performance. So they updated the specs on the Steam Deck. The models could ship with either a PCIe Gen 3 ×4 or PCIe Gen 3 ×2 variant of the 256 gigabyte SSD drive, or the 512 for that matter. These are those NVMe fast SSDs. It said in this article that I found on GameSpot, it does not seem that for the most gaming experiences, or for most of them, performance is unlikely to be affected by this change due to the fact that so few PC games are designed to take advantage of NVMe SSD speeds anyway. Steam Deck designer Lawrence Yang also told PC Gamer that the change assists Valve in making and shipping more units of the in-demand. If I could read, shipping more units of the in-demand device. I'm going to say that's not written great. I'm just going to say that. Valve also recently announced it's ramping up production on the Steam Deck. So I don't know, it's fine, I guess. You don't like hearing that you're paying the same money for a slower drive, though.
I don't. I think the PC Master Racers don't care whether the games are adapted or not. This, part of it is just speed porn, right? Like they're just like, what?
Yeah.
What? I'm not getting the speeds I paid for. What?
Yeah,
it's probably the best they could do is say that if they have to actually do this because of supply chain issues or whatever.
Yeah.
And hopefully rest on people's good graces. But
Sure.
Well, I'll fall on that sword. They can give me theirs when they're unhappy with it. I'll take it.
Yeah, how about that? I like that.
Yeah,
You know, if
they
you
can
guys
just
don't,
send it to me. I want one.
yeah,
Because I don't know how I'll get one otherwise, but I do want one.
Yeah.
So if you feel bamboozled, you can just send yours to me. Send a message over Twitter, and we'll get that set.
yeah, we'll get to
Not
John. Will
gonna-
take the slower. He'll take the hit on the slower
I'm not
drive.
gonna give you any money for it, but I will sacrifice. I'll live with a slower drive. It's fine. It's
Hell, I'll even go this far. If you've got one that you paid for and it has the slower drive and you're mad, I'll pay market value. I'll pay what you paid for it. How about that?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Mr. Moneybags over here.
Because I can't get the damn thing any other way.
Scott's
Paying
like,
a retail price.
Scott's like, well, John's not gonna pay you, but I'll pay you.
Yeah, I'll pay you real money. But if you got a friend that is also, trying to unload because he's mad about the speed decrease, well, John's got you covered for free.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was some other stuff announced this week that was interesting, like from Valve. Portal, they're bringing Portal 1 and 2 and some other Portal stuff to the Switch, which we'll talk about later in a group of other things. But just kind of a weird week for Valve. It's like, yeah, we're putting a slower drive in there, but you probably won't notice. Anyway, see ya. And also, we have games that are coming out on the Switch, a competing handheld device. I guess. I don't know if it's competing. These are still weird arguments people have about whether the Switch and the Steam Deck
it's
even
like a different
occupy.
weight class, right? So
Yeah.
like Steam serves PC users, Switch serves, the Switch specs are so low end in comparison, right? It's like, yeah, let's just put our game on that device,
Yeah, the Switch is still, it's basically an Android phone from 2017. And that's fine. It's continues to enjoy a long life. I still think things look fine on it, but it's not like some powerhouse monster in there. It's a freaking
I think the
Tegra
biggest thing
Wonder
is
or
just,
whatever.
it's just some games are natively 720. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we'll get to some of the things the Switch is trying to do to lure people in. I don't think it'll work on me because I don't care about Persona games. I mean, I probably should care, but I don't care.
They're coming to PC, and you can play them.
That's true.
In a-
Coming to
in a
Xbox
less
also.
And then you
form.
can care. You can discover that you care.
They'll be
That
on
you
it.
secretly harbored in your heart and soul a desire to return to high school
Yeah.
while also fighting monsters
Yeah.
in a
I
nightmare
I think I'm developing that taste. I was looking at the Persona 5 game the other day, and I was like, maybe I want to play this now.
So is
Maybe
the deal
now's
still in those games? I remember I played a bunch of 4, and I remember part of the deal was if you wanted to enter the realm of heroic fighting, you had to kill yourself, basically, right? You had to shoot yourself in the head.
I think that was 3,
Oh.
and that was they had a thing. They didn't kill themselves, but yes, the thing that triggered their whatever to make the magic manifest is that they had things called evokers, which looked like guns, and they would put them to their head and
Fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably less. It's probably a little more frowned upon.
It wasn't popular when it came out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was by some. Like, there were some people that were definitely like, "Oh, this is edgy and cool."
Yeah, it sounds awesome to me.
Like it, I bought that game because of that. I was like, "This sounds awesome." I'm gonna play this game
unique.
and listen to My Chemical Romance, and it's gonna be badass. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
But it's it was good. And Persona 4 didn't have that. It was a different method. I don't remember. Well, they went into a TV. Like, everything was in the TV. So like they always have their weird little things. I think it's masks in 5, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Oh, is it? How you feel about that? Bone
They've really
mask?
scaled it back since the shooting yourself bit. I thought maybe it'd be like
Yes. Well,
they
where do
walk
you
into
go?
each other's interests in that sequel to scale it up.
Yeah. I remember really having a good time as far as I got. I felt like there was too much anime chattery going on, though. That kind of annoyed me. There was a lot of hanging around in class talking to kids about freaking personal life, and I'm like, let's get to a dungeon and turn-based fight something. What are we doing here? I realize
That's where
these
you
aren't
build
for me.
your relationships, Scott.
I
Your
know,
relationships build your skills.
But they're bad.
This is the visual novel JRPG style. It's
It is.
It's what people come for.
I wish I did.
That's right.
I wish I did. Maybe one day I'll convert, but right now those things bore me to tears. I can't do them. Maybe because the stories are bad. Okay. Now you might say to me, Scott,
no,
there's a
they're
lower.
not.
People would say there's a lower threshold for video games, and maybe even a lower threshold for localized Eastern games made in Japan or otherwise. And so we're going to get, some weird translation even on the best of efforts.
Yeah.
I get that.
Let me just throw that out there. I think when you say bad, you mean it, and I understand why, because it's the video game equivalent of like Hallmark movies, which I know you're not a fan of.
No.
I'm not a fan of. This is partner chores. If someone had to, like, okay, let's spend time together. I got to watch some of your movies because you watch mine. And these JRPGs are that. And so if you're not in, like, it's cooler than a Hallmark movie. It isn't like, Ken and Barbie like hanging out with friends, learning lessons about life. But it's in the same vein, right? All along, we should have just been friends, but I kept doing that, Ryuko. I'm sorry. And with also weird, creepy uncles and stuff like that. Sure. I prefer it to the Hallmark movie, but it's melodrama and that kind of thing.
It totally is, and I understand it has a place. It totally has a place in games. It should have a place in games.
It's a mighty big soapbox to climb up, having not played the game, to go, it's got a bad story.
Well, I played enough of 4 to tell you that I think that story sucked. At least as far as I played. I played probably...
You're going to deserve every email.
I played like 6.5 hours.
Beef.
6.5 hours is probably not enough to get any kind of resolution on where that story was going. But it's still mostly just... like that. It's mostly that.
Yeah, if you don't like it after 6 hours, because I don't play many games like that, but I played a lot of Scarlet Nexus, which I loved a lot about Scarlet Nexus, but there was a lot of... I had to go on like friendly date missions with everybody, and it was just a bunch of talking, and
didn't like that.
At a certain point you're like, okay, like this is boring. Like I don't care. And
send me your
have
emails.
To do them to get power ups and stuff.
If people are going to be annoyed, I'm totally fine taking these emails. I have no problem trying to explain myself. I'm not saying these aren't good for who likes them. I'm saying I don't like them. That's it.
Oh, well, it sounded like you said they're bad.
You said
I'm
they
saying
sucked.
I think here.
Oh, right.
Let me clarify. I think that kind of game sucks.
Oh, okay.
I thought the combat.
It's fine.
I thought the combat and the actual like game was great. I was having a great time, but just way too much. Oh, that's over now. Oh, here we go. Buckle in for 6 hours of Crunchyroll before I can get back to fighting something.
You know what? If Scott and I both played a Persona game, we would have a phenomenal experience, because the part he hates is the part I like, and the part he likes is the part I hate.
You don't like the fighting?
Because I was always like, oh, Jesus, we got to go to the dungeon tonight. All right, here we go. Let's do a bunch of random battles. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So we could just pass the controller. It would be perfect.
Yeah, I'd
You're
do
like,
that.
all right, John, go do my schooling for me. I'd be like, you got it, man. We're gonna join the basketball
100%,
club,
yeah,
and we're gonna do all sorts of good relationship business today. We're gonna make new friends. We're gonna study hard. Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
And then when you got to run in a dungeon, I just give the controller to you.
Yeah. Part of it too is I just, if the story was kind of, I don't know, if they just went
the
more.
story was remotely good. I think
I don't want to say.
Yeah, you could not like it. You could say it sucks, and someone
Yeah.
could say it's the best thing ever, and we could just leave it at that.
And people will, and it's fine. And I know that those things are massively popular. And these announcements of going all these platforms and ended up on PC and Xbox and PlayStation, like everybody's getting these re-releases and the Switch and everything. People are stoked. I am so happy for you guys, really. Genuinely.
It's more of a Japanese thing. So, like, I enjoyed Yakuza, but there was definitely a lot of blah, 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 blah. Like, it's
a lot of blah.
The Japanese aesthetic likes a lot of blah.
Yeah, they're into the blah. Super into the blah. And
America's just like, where's the shooting? Give me the shooting. Call of Duty, baby.
I like good
Can't
story.
I go into a dungeon? Just tell me there's a devil, I'll kill it. I don't need to know why. Just kill
I
the
love
devil.
good story. See, this is actually the opposite problem I had with the first Last of Us, which that may change with this remaster or this remake, because it looks like they're going to address a lot of this. But I really loved that story. Did not like how it played. And it's the complete flip. So I like, I'll admit I have a slant toward Western storytelling. The Japanese stuff sometimes works for me. Actually, the more ridiculous, the better. And I think Persona tried to make it all too self-serious about the relationship stuff. If it was more ridiculous and just kind of over the top, kind of One Punch Man level of like throw all logic to the wind, I would probably like it more. Anyway, but I'll stop digging this hole. Keep your emails coming.
No, it's fine. Everybody knows you don't actually like anime, Scott. We've said it many times on the show. They all understand.
And chat room says I don't have patience for a slow burn. Absolutely not true. I love slow burn stories. I would have called in its best seasons, I would have called Game of Thrones a slow burn story, and I loved it for that. It decided to get too fast toward the end, and it kind of ruined that. But I love a good yarn, and a video game is a great place for that. I love it. But it's just a lot of I just can't do it. Like I realize I'm being reductive here, but they all come down to like they're just nervous around each other, and ooh, he touched his hand, and I don't know. I'm just not in junior high anymore, and it doesn't work on me anymore. That kind of stuff. I don't know.
I don't think it's the time or duration. I think it's the subject matter. There's an element of parasocial to it where I feel like if you've got a lot of melodrama or just drama or family connections in your life, the last thing you need is a fantasy simulator about what you already got.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it.
If you happen to live a quieter life, you happen to have a lot of those needs not met, then getting lost in the fantasy of it is a thing. And yeah. But I mean, I don't like long anime. Like, I love anime, but 24 episodes or less, please. Don't give me these Narutos and one, to get in the anime, you're like, there are 257 episodes of this anime. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Like, thanks.
It just seems unsurmountable.
Just don't have time. There's plenty of stuff to do.
When these One Piece people come at me and they're like, hey, One Piece is amazing. Oh, well, I should probably watch it. What should I get into? Well, you're going to want to start with series 3, but only do the first 3 episodes and then go to the 8th series and then read
You don't like guides? You
No.
don't like watch guides?
It's too much. It's the reason I like Doctor Who when I've seen Doctor Who, but I find it impenetrable at this stage because
There's a lot of it.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's fine.
I've only missed like 1 season so far, and I find it impenetrable as a result. I tried watching an episode after missing a season. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Where do we stand on this?
I dropped off during Matt Smith. I was like, all right, enough already.
Oh, we'll see.
I get it. I really like David Tennant, but I'm like, oh.
All these exit ramps, all these on ramps to content like that, and I love people who are just so into it. They've seen every second of everything, and they've watched even the old black and white shit from the 50s, and great. Yeah. I think that's great. I don't know. I got too much other stuff. They keep saying in the chat that what's the name of that game? Hold on. Shin Megami Tensei is supposed to be more.
Is that the same series?
No, it's a competing thing.
It's connected because the same monsters exist in both games.
Yeah, that's where we get into that whole. Well, like, where do you start playing Persona? And I looked at some of I looked at Persona 3. It's an old ass looking game. I'm not playing that. You can tell me it's the best thing in the universe.
PS2 game, right?
A couple decades. So I'm not spending time on this. Yeah. So like, yeah. Either I can get into it at Persona 5 or I'm out.
Chat room also makes a good point about how. Let's see, who is this? 10 Lobster. That's a lot of lobster. Yeah. Says that this is why he or she finds Warcraft impenetrable for the same reason. And I could see that. Like, I was along for the ride long enough that I was like, no, I know what's going on. So a new expansion or a new story chunk was not a problem because I was already there. But if you were asked, 15 years into the lifespan of a game, hey, jump on now. Now's the time to get in. It can feel like, what, really? Like, look at what do I do? And even though you kind of know what they could do, because it's all fresh to them, they don't really know. I mean, I don't just mean gameplay. I mean, like, how do you take all that story in? How do you reconcile certain story issues that are true now that weren't true during, I don't know, Wrath of the Lich King? And how do you, like, it's bad. It's a lot.
How do you play through it all without getting bored? You'll hit max level way before you finish the content. Well,
the game doesn't even want you to. Like, the way leveling works in World of Warcraft right now, you hit max level and it kicks you out of whatever you're doing and puts you in current content regardless of what you've been doing. So
that's true.
They don't have a care for their own lore, so why should you? But that's the thing. I think people in general just have a tendency to want to share experiences, which is, I think that's why you see reaction content on YouTube be so popular. I think that's why you have so many people that are like, oh, I don't want spoilers, or I won't spoil anything for you, because people just have this desire to see other people go through experiences that they really enjoyed and share that. And that can be a wonderful thing. It's not like an inherently toxic thing. But a lot of these things that we enjoyed at a very specific time in our lives. Like even Persona, I'm giving Scott a little shit because he said it was a bad story and he hadn't played it. But
6 hours, that's a lot of time. I played a lot.
But the last time I played a Persona game, you know, I was like maybe not long out of high school. I don't remember when it came out, but like I didn't have a wife, I didn't have kids. I was in a very different place, like socially and as far as like where my life was. If I went to that now, there's a good chance I'd sound exactly like Scott. Like, I don't have time for this. What do you guys know about problems? Oh no, they may not like me. Guess what? I accidentally stuck my hand in baby poop changing a diaper today. Like, that's a problem.
Sweet.
That's a problem that needs solving immediately. Did the basketball coach, not coach, that gets creepy. Did the basketball captain notice me? Like, you know,
I had excrement related problems this week too. I feel you, brother.
Oh. Do we want to know more or no?
Oh, I pissed my pants.
Whoa, what? Tell me. That's
Well, I sat down to take a shit, and then I went to go for a pee. But you know, look, guys, I know this is a bit of a self-report, but my pecker was aimed out of the toilet bowl and peed into my pants, and I'm at work without a change of clothes, and I'm like, Frank. Life's hard, so like, I don't care about your high school bullshit. Give me a game about real world problems.
Wow.
Like I forgot to aim down before I went. Bo, can I just tell you, this is why they numbered them 1 and 2.
Yeah.
If you had anticipated the 1, if you had listened about escalation,
I didn't know.
You could have anticipated.
2 was first in this case.
I had no inclination of a pee. I was just like, it's shitting time. And sometimes when it's shitting time, it's peeing time too. And I was on my phone. That was the mistake.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about and I went, oh shit, I felt a bit of wet. It wasn't that bad, but I had to spend a good 20 minutes trying to fan off my pants and hopefully.
Oh, it's the worst. I've been in a similar
situation.
situation.
Hopefully I don't smell like pee. Like, God damn it, I'm going to be that guy. You get near that person, they smell like. Yeah, I had a teacher. And his butt was about head high as a student, so whenever he'd walk by, he like literally smelled like shit. Like the kids all talking like he wears diapers, right? Like you can't, like, and he'd be teaching the class, walking between the students, and you just smell shit. Well, like you didn't smell it far away, you didn't fart, but as soon as he got within your desk, the shit smell came, and all the kids would be like, "Holy, what's wrong with this guy?" Like,
oh my gosh,
he's
that's
probably
amazing.
wearing a diaper, but it's not pleasant. Anyways,
I get it.
I didn't want to be that guy, so somebody might have been walking by and said, "Man, that guy smells like pee."
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyways, so write that, Persona.
Yeah, write that, Persona, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is Steam Deck changing the specs on their hard drive for the main Steam Deck.
I don't think people would believe that story if you put it in your video game. That's the kind of story that only happens in real life.
That's right. This is a real
life
deal.
That can't happen in fiction.
Well, all right. Moving on. Speaking of things I wish were fiction, Ron Gilbert, creator of the Monkey Island series and a whole bunch of other video games, a lot of point-and-click adventure games. He also made that weird Diablo-like game that was meant to be funny, and it kind of was, but it was...
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it had a real over-the-top kind of hero guy.
I liked so much about it, and then something was wrong, and I don't remember why I popped off of that, and I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I can't remember it either.
Anyway, Ron Gilbert, been around forever, veteran of the industry. He's seen it grow from its tiny place it used to be to this juggernaut of a giant industry, which is why I have a couple of takes on this. But anyway, he showed a bunch more on Monkey Island, which people are already being a-holes about because they don't like the art style or 10 other reasons why it's a problem. He got harassed to the point where now he says he's not showing it anymore until they're done with it. So he's just going to go work on it. F you guys, screw you guys, I'm not talking to you anymore. Now, here's my two takes. Number one, that sucks, and once again, gamer toxicity sucks, and I freaking hate it, and you're all lame. Anybody who gave him shit for that, go pound sand and eat a turd. All right, go do that. But then the other take is, I do kind of feel like Ron Gilbert, who has been in this industry for this long and has seen where it's gone, probably made a mistake here. If the goal was to get trolls to back off, it ain't happening now. Because now he's like, well, I'm not talking to you anymore. And now that just feeds them. They just fuel on that. That's like, now they're stoked to give him shit. So So
Yeah,
I don't
but maybe
know.
he's not going to see it. Like, if he's walking away from it, and he's like, well, I don't have to worry about the social media aspect. I'm just going to go make a game, and who cares what they do? Like, maybe he isn't going to see it. It's not going to stop him, but,
No, they're still
they're
making
not
it.
going to get to him. I respect the, I respect the, like, he didn't threaten it. This wasn't like a, come on, guys, be nice, or, you're lucky to have this. Wasn't a discussion. He was just like, all right, you don't like it, you're going to be assholes about it. Great. I'm not talking about the game anymore. You've now seen 100% of what you're going to see until it comes out.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you later.
Like, and I kind of just respect that that's what he decided to do. And like, that was what he said. He said, you turned something that should have been fun and great for our team into a negative, and we're not going to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, that's the part. That's why I'm saying I'm torn on it. Because on the one hand, I think it'll only get worse in the short term. What will probably happen, because no one has memory for anything in gaming. I remember when those same kinds of voices were just ripping on the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker announcement and the art style they chose. And they were losing their minds over this back in 03, 02, whatever it was. And then that game comes out and is considered by many, myself included, to be the finest the game series ever got. It's the best Zelda game ever made, in my opinion. And if it's not your favorite, for most people, it's right up there. And part of it is that amazing art style, which holds up, which transcends generations. It doesn't look old, whereas going back to Twilight Princess, it looks old. And that was them going, we're going to go realistic again. Bad move. So I guess what I'm saying is, y'all suck. Leave Ron Gilbert alone. But also, I will say this too, as somebody who creates art for part of my living, and I love seeing what art style games use and this sort of thing. I think it looks rad. So I don't know what the F is wrong with people.
I do think it looks good. And I mean, granted, like, Monkey Island has had a lot of different looks. I don't know if I would put this as my favorite, but it's up there. Like, it looks awesome. Between the original, like, old computer pixel art days to, how it looked when they did a remake of it. They went full, like, animation house style for a point. They've had some real rough 3D models. I'd say that's the only time that Monkey Island has actually genuinely looked bad, is between Telltale going 3D and I think it was, I can't remember. I think it's like the third or fourth Monkey Island game.
It was bad. It was bad.
Like, the 3D is just atrocious on it.
Yeah.
But it's a game that's never been about its look. Nobody's ever gone, oh man, you know what you got to get? You got to get this new Monkey Island. It's a game changer. Like, it's supposed to be functional, and it's about the writing, and it's about the characters and all of that. And people have to be the way they have to be. Like, everybody should just be thankful they're getting more Monkey Island, because those games don't come around. They're not. It's not Call of Duty. You can't count on one every year.
Right,
like,
and you really definitely can't count on them coming back with the original writing and creation team intact. Like, that doesn't happen. The last 3 were not them, and they showed it. It showed. So, yeah, everyone just freaking calm down. It's gonna be fine, and it looks cool. I like this, like, weird. I don't even know what to compare it to. It's like it's just a little more haunted looking, which is my jam. I like those darker colors. I like that whole take. I think it looks rad. Looks like something my daughter would draw or something, which maybe I'm biased, but I just think that's a cool style, and it's also a very modern take. And haters gonna hate, but I'm just a little worried they're gonna hate more, because they're like, fine, we're not showing you anymore. Well, that's like giving them a key to the mansion. They're all gonna flip out.
I just don't know who these people are. Like, who are the people that are the Monkey Island fans that are graphic snobs? Because, like I said, the past, like, Telltale, the 4th game, like, none of those looked good. Where have all of you been? Like, where were you then? Like, why did you pop up now all of a sudden to be like, well, actually, like, your game never looked good. Why are you turning into graphic snobs now?
Yeah, it's
like,
weird.
It's the craziest thing to me. It's so bizarre.
So, Bo, as someone who's, I mean, usually if you have a complaint about graphics, it's just that it's stuck in the past. But this is a fairly modern take on a graphical treatment for a 2D point and click game. Do you look at it and go, ew, gross? Or how do you see it?
I didn't play the original, so I don't have the same marriage to it. I can best liken it to, I like the G1 Transformers aesthetic, and then I always get, for later iterations, nothing ever looks like G1. and they make the new Transformers, and I guess I'm supposed to be happy about it, but I'm not. I like that aesthetic, but
Sure.
I'm also not. It's not important.
You know why it's not important?
Like we all get up in arms about stuff. I mean, probably the most was just I hate what happened to Luke in The Last Jedi. But like that aside,
Yeah.
I try to be a reasonable human being and realize if I don't like it, I can just move on with my life.
Yeah.
And so, people just not digging it. I mean, we're not talking about a big commercial studio that you can pressure into doing things a la Sonic the Hedgehog. Like,
Yeah.
keep in mind, like, you teach people how to treat you. I've seen a lot of comments about different things, even the Sonic Frontiers, where it's like, if we complain enough, someone might actually do the right thing and fix it. So I can see people being like, hey man, we fixed Sonic, now let's fix Monkey Island, because it doesn't look like the way we expect it to look.
Lame.
And I mean, I think it's lame too, but we're also not talking about, are we talking about a big commercial product?
No, and we're not. Well, I mean,
that
it's
matters?
it's
I mean,
bigger than
I just
middling.
couldn't imagine wasting my life giving feedback. Like, I would look at it and be like, I don't like the new art style,
and then move on.
well, I'm not gonna, maybe I'll check it out and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Just like Transformers stuff. I didn't love the animation of the new Transformers trilogy on Netflix.
Yeah,
It's pretty good. Like Siege, War for Cybertron. Like,
pretty looking.
it was an all right story.
Mhm.
The animation I didn't love, but overall I enjoyed watching it. And yeah, I think you got to look at this. Like John said, we're getting Monkey Island.
Yeah, the way I see it is this. It's just the simple. If people don't, I don't have a problem with people not liking an art style. That's totally fine. But they're sending him dick pics, and not in a like, hey, Ron Gilbert, look at my wiener. They're doing it to just be a-holes, and they're like making threats, veiled or otherwise. Like, that's just say you don't like it and move on. Go get a sandwich, you little puss boy.
The worst of us always ruin everything. It just seems like this caught the attention of the worst of us. And when you're in a police state, social points for using internet, then don't get mad. Look at your own actions, because you're the ones that caused this. Like,
Yeah.
just another example of like, just because you can doesn't mean you need. If it's that bad, that's bordered into just abuse.
And
Like,
keep your
it's
little
just-
micro penis to yourself. Don't send pictures to Ron Gilbert. Is what I'm saying.
Well, also, if
Is it that
Nintendo
bad?
still put out Wind Waker, then I don't think you're going to get this one to change. 'cause
No.
that one was on a much bigger scale. Like, my goodness, I've never seen people.
That was such a freak out.
I worked at GameStop when that first got announced, and my goodness, the amount of people just coming into the store, just shouting at retail clerks because Link looked weird.
Yeah.
It was like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Like,
Yeah.
People just get really weird about that shit, and I don't understand them, because I'm sorry, but there's something missing in your life. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah. I
It's
agree.
just like, the same people who got mad about Metallica doing a grunge album, that wasn't like their old hardcore thing. And you Metallica, they're like, we're artists, we just want to do new shit. Like,
I liked that album.
people are like, there are people who are like, oh, I like this band when they did this, or before I liked Offspring before they sold out, or all that kind of stuff. Like, that's, people grow to like something, and then when you change it, they, some people don't understand that life is evolving and impermanence,
Toxic
including our own
fandom.
lives, and
Yeah.
some people just don't accept that. They're just like, this is supposed to be X, and it's not X, and so
Yeah.
my expectations are disappointed, and I want someone to hear about it, and then they're just going to be abusive.
And now they can do it. Imagine if we'd have had the social internet in 2002, John, when everybody was bugging in your store.
I mean, maybe they wouldn't have come into GameStop. It would have probably made my personal life better, but
Yeah.
it would have been way, way worse.
I mean,
But
people pissed about Star Trek and Star Wars would take out whole page ads. in
That's
the New York
right.
Times and stuff. Like, this is not new. I think that we have this problem where, yes, internet is changing the way we do things, but people being shitty
Oh, it's as old as time.
Like, it's as old as time. Like,
Yeah.
people were shitty during the world wars.
Yeah.
Like, there were, people are shitty now. They're still shitty, and it's got nothing to do with the internet. It's just delivered to your door faster and in greater quantity.
Yeah, it's just everyone's got a platform now. So I watch old, I make a point of this. I follow a couple of TikTok channels that do nothing but like old VCR stuff or local closed cable, or what were they called? You'd have a cable station, but it wasn't available to everybody. It was like a
what is it? Local access.
Local access, cable access,
yeah.
whatever it is.
No, it's something else, but I think it is access.
Yeah, access cable, something like that. But anyway, it was like
Public access.
Public access. There you go. So it was the idea of what Wayne's World, the fictitious show of Wayne's World, is being broadcast on
public
access
station
thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, what was my point? My point is, those people existed then. Like I look at stuff from the 70s and 80s, wackadoos, just angry, pissy shitheads with a video camera and maybe a friend who passed it around. But that was the extent of it. Now they've got 50 Twitter accounts. They're all over Facebook. They've got YouTube channels where they can rant, and some of them are very popular. Like, that's just the difference.
Well, they've also got ways to feel like they're a community. Like, it was different when the person that was like, we'll just keep using this as the example. Like, if I got fired up and I was like, oh, Ron Gilbert ruined my life when he made the Monkey Island art not look like the cartoon from the third game when it looked awesome, and I got so fired up about it, and I came to you guys, like, if the internet didn't exist, you guys were just the people I knew, and I came to you guys, you'd be like, shut up, go away, like, get a life, get over yourself. And I think now the difference is you go on the internet and you can find, more people that agree with you, and you go, well, look I'm not the only one. And so now you're getting rewarded for that behavior, as opposed to before, where we did kind of a decent job of shouting down people that were like, you just say, hey, keep it in perspective, man, chill out.
Yeah, even the people who don't disagree with you, actually, that's a reward for people, because they are now, well, if they're fighting me, I must be saying something big. It's just perpetuating.
Never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it.
That's right. That's really, I like that.
I've
heard that.
Was a quote in a Civilization game, actually.
Was it? Which one?
I was trying to remember that.
It might have been.
Before I'm about to nosedive into a pile of mud with someone, whether it's online or it's just an interpersonal thing or work, I just think, like, you know what? This person is really going to jack off later to our argument. I better not give it to him.
I hate that idea, but yes, there are people like that. There are definitely people
only
like
if it's
that.
really important. Otherwise, you're just getting muddy and upset, and the other person, debate lords. They live for it.
They do love it. Look for Ron Gilbert's Monkey Island coming soon to the Switch first, and then everything else will get it after that. So get excited. Okay.
I was sad about that for a second, and then I remembered I had a Switch, which really says something about how often I use it. I was like, oh man, I gotta wait longer, and then I was like, wait a minute, I have a Switch. I can play it right away.
It may not be the place you want to play it,
but all I have to say, just to put a final thing on it, though, let's see the game first. Let's not. There's no merit to this Monkey Island hate.
Yeah, you're all poops. Don't be poops.
Yeah.
Now this music will help us do this next thing. Yeah, you remember that? Oh boy! And there's a little tinkle at the end. Listen. Oh, it's like a little, like Bo with his toilet problem, and a little tinkle at the end.
I associate that sound 100% with Resident Evil 2.
I do as well. Resident, and then you hit the thing and go Resident Evil.
This is the first PlayStation game I played, and it was from a borrowed PlayStation, so I didn't know this was a thing in front of every video game that you put in the thing, because up to that point, the idea of a load screen for consoles was insane to me, and so it was just the sound that played before Resident Evil, and then I put in a different game when I eventually got a PlayStation. I was like, it does this every time. It really confused me. I thought it was just part of the credits.
I love that. People get really attached to these sounds. Like when there were a few years there where the Macintosh stopped having their normal startup sound, or the one that everybody was used to. You want to talk about a weird outcry. People lost their frickin' minds over that, and they brought it back as a result. So now it's there again. But for a while
No, go ahead. The one for PlayStation 3 is always just immediately makes me think of South Park, where everybody's smelling their own farts and liking it. Because the PlayStation 3 one is the most up its own ass with we're sophisticated console sound I've ever heard in my life.
Well, now I have to play it, so let's hear it. This is PlayStation 3 startup. Here you go. Wait. Okay, here we go. I don't know if it's going to be very loud. Here we go. Yeah, because basically what they're emulating there, they're like, hey, what if it sounded like an entire orchestra pit warming up for the big presentation?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they thought. That's exactly what they thought it would be. I hate
Their
it.
console sales demo was art history teachers and wine connoisseurs.
Yeah.
Check out my PlayStation, everyone.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The PlayStation 4 one, well, here, I'll play it. Let's see here. It's playing. Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
There it is. Oh, yeah, because it kind of just started, right?
Yeah, and it just sort of leans into this like weird indie tune kind of thing. I kind of liked it though. It was all right.
Yeah, I mean it's better than like some of the things they could have done. Where like, boom, boom, cheers, PlayStation, yo, get it started. Like they could have gone that direction. And I'd rather the orchestra and pretension than
trying to be cool than hello, my fellow teens.
I do like it that Sony continually has cool music during the dashboard and store experience. Nintendo has used to, and it was amazing, and then they stopped. Bastards.
Yeah.
There's no music during the Switch store or any of that. And then Microsoft also just using blips and bleeps, no actual music. So I will give it to Sony for at least trying to entertain me the whole time I'm in the dashboard.
I like the GameCube if you held the Z button while it booted.
Oh, yeah. Dunk.
Yeah, but you had to hold Z because then it did the...
Oh, I don't remember that.
Try it. Do a search for, I don't know, GameCube boot holding
All right, let me
Z,
see here.
something like that. It's weird.
Is this it here? Hold on. What's this? Oh, no, that's PS5. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a little different. My goodness. Wow.
Cube startup sound hold Z. Here you go. You ready? I
Yeah.
do not remember this. Here we go. All right.
That's the default one.
Okay.
Is it gonna play a second one?
It says hold Z. Oh, here it is. Okay, hold on.
There's a lot going on. Let's unpack that.
I had that for a long time at the GameCube, and I loved that console.
Did you never press the Z button when you booted?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like an idiot.
I feel like you kind of lucked out listening to what I just listened to. I didn't own a GameCube, but that sounded obnoxious as shit.
Yeah, that's kind of obnoxious.
Like,
Yeah, but
here's
you
a baby
had to
laughing
work
wave
to
file.
get the obnoxiousness, which made it more fun because you just do it to mess with your friends. You'd boot up the console and hold it, and your friends would go, "What the hell was that?"
So was that supposed to be like
that is cool. I
Diddy
like that.
Kong
Yeah,
having
like
an
that.
orgasm, or what was that? Well, I don't know what that even
It
is.
might have been. I don't know. Ask
All right.
Diddy.
All right, yeah, ask Diddy. He's not doing anything. Anyway, the reason I brought that up is because the PlayStation Plus free games for July I think are pretty good, and I wanted to also comment. This would be a good place for me to comment on my experience so far with PlayStation Plus middle tier, whose name I don't remember.
Middle tier.
It's
It
extra.
sounds like a streaming service.
I think-
PlayStation Extra.
I think it is extra, right? I hate that name.
Is it? Because that's what I would call certain PlayStation.
Scott,
fans.
your Xbox bias is showing.
I hate the names. I think Game Pass is a cool name. I think PlayStation Plus is a cool name. I think PlayStation Plus Extra sucks. I think that sounds stupid. Hold on.
Is it really extra?
Hold on. I'm
Oh my
looking.
gosh.
Plus extra.
Yeah, it's
My God.
PlayStation Plus Extra, PlayStation Plus Premium.
I mean, adult diapers have better naming nomenclature than PlayStation Plus.
And Bo knows he pissed his pants today.
for a company,
I think I might have to start learning about that.
it's
stuff
like
soon.
Sony is great at naming their console. I think numbering it and PS2, 3, 5, 4, 5 is great. They did the smart thing. But their services have terrible names. Microsoft, on the other hand, cannot get their shit together on naming their hardware, and they screw that up left and right. But they have pretty good names for their services. I don't understand where the disconnect is with these companies. It's weird to me.
I just assume they're scrambling because they're so owned by Xbox that they're all in a boardroom going like, "What do we do?" They're like stun locked in the board. They're just like, "Just ship it. We got to get it out tomorrow."
Oh, I love
You know,
that
these
term.
things take time to hit the production chain, right? It's not like they can snap their fingers overnight. So this week we got to figure out the name because next week we got to call China and figure out this thing. I got to call Japan and figure that thing. all the stuff they got to figure out to launch globally. I'm sure like they can't just snap their fingers. So I'm guessing this was a quick like Xbox is eating our lunch. We need to
Probably because Extra's a dumb name. It's just
I mean,
dumb.
honestly, chat's I think saying it as a joke, but PlayStation Double Plus and PlayStation Triple Plus is a better name.
I agree.
Sharp. No, do it like programming language. C, C++, C Sharp.
This is right up Bo's current alleyway.
So we got PlayStation Pass, PlayStation Pass Plus Plus, PlayStation Plus
Sharp.
Pass Sharp.
Sharp.
Pass
yeah.
Sharp.
Pass Sharp.
Pass Sharp.
Yeah, nailed it. So here's the deal.
Food last night and Pass Sharp.
Yeah, we know how that turned out at the office. So I was just going to say, I like it so far. This is how I got to play Returnal, and that game's pretty rad. People have been telling me for a long time to play it, and I like it a lot. And I wasn't going to spend $70 on it, so it was nice to have it in here. And it's a pretty decent selection thus far. I will admit I haven't played as much there as I have on Game Pass recently, because Game Pass has put some recently interesting games out that I just sucked my attention away. But at least of the first few weeks that I've been using it, I think it's fine. I actually was happy to hear, though, that Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is coming out in July. As of the 5th, that'll be the free game.
Nice.
Also, the Dark Pictures Man of Medan, which I think is the first one of the Dark Pictures trilogy, I think.
Yeah.
So that hooks you in, right. So they probably want you to buy the other two. And then Arcade-ageddon, I don't know what that is. But I wanted to just put a word in for Crash Bandicoot 4. It's really good and recent. Like the thing came out, a year ago? It's not even that old.
Is it about time?
It's about time, yeah.
Is it the most recent one? Is it 4 or 5?
It is the most recent, yeah. And it was made, as a modern game for modern PCs and consoles. And it's weirdly on the Blizzard launcher. That always looked kind of strange on there. On the PC side, that was the only place you can play it. I don't know if that'll change. Probably will change. But anyway, hey, PlayStation players, I don't know about them. One of the games I played this week will be indicative of this, but I've been in the mood for just some good old-fashioned freaking platforming. I don't know why. Just give me some gems to catch and shit to jump over and guys to land on. Psh. That sounded wrong.
Sorry.
You ever play any of the Shantae games?
No, but I always heard those were cool.
That's what I've heard too. I've never played one, but it feels like there's 100 of them. And every now and then I see, it pops up on the Steam sale, and I'm like, well, they made 100 of these. Like, surely there has to be something here. I feel like I should try one.
I just
don't know what one I should try.
Aren't they kind of Metroidvania sort of stuff in it too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Kind of want.
I like the art style. I like how it looks. But
why don't you try Crash Bandicoot?
I don't like Crash Bandicoot.
You might like this one. It's a proper platformer. Maybe if tonally you don't like him and his spin and his dopiness.
Yeah, John really doesn't like him. He's like, well, you ever see this other game on the store?
I understand you like bandicoots and pants and stuff, but what about a genie?
So what is it
I know what you mean, John, because I see that game all the time too, and I'm like, nah, I can't do it.
So what is it about it? What pushes you away from Bandicoot?
Well, I honestly, if it's a actual platformer, like that does help, because I just don't like the run towards the screen. I think those sat down and was like, hey guys, run towards the screen. You're like, okay, I can think of 100 problems with that as a design element, and guess what? It's a problem across the board.
I agree.
I just never got into Crash because I didn't think those games were very good, and I tend to be like, I know the lore of Crash Bandicoot's probably not a real good novel, but I do tend to be the kind of person. I do tend to be the kind of person that's like, well, shouldn't I start at the beginning? How am I going to know who this character is? Like, somebody's going to show up and be like, Crash, I'm going to get you. And I'm supposed to know who that is.
How are you supposed to play any Mario Brothers games when you haven't played the first one? Like, there's so much canon.
Yeah,
I know. I have.
Mario
Thankfully,
Brothers
like Doctor Who, I've been with that for a while, and I know who Bowser is.
That's true. Of course, Bowser wasn't even there.
Imagine if you were a young person, could you play Mario with all the Mario that exists previously?
Probably, because they kind of tell the same story every time.
Yeah.
One of the offshoots.
I think Crash falls into this category.
You played Paper Mario or one of those, maybe you'd be a little lost because they do get a little deeper in that stuff. But for the most part, it's like, here's King Koopa or later Bowser or for a while Birdo or whatever. But they're all here to get the princess, whichever princess it is this time. What do you got to do, Mario? I guess I got to jump and land on shit and get to the end with the flag. Okay, you're in.
Yep.
You're in. But Crash
Didn't,
Bandicoot 4 is a
Miyamoto
proper
say
game.
at one point they were all just actors putting on plays every game?
No, I mean I don't.
Yeah,
I've never
I'm
heard
telling
it.
you,
Did he?
I think he did say that. I think
did he
that's
say? I
something he
missed
said.
that.
That all the Mario characters are like they're not. I don't want to say they're not real because that, but like that the idea is that they are all actors putting on a play. Like these are their performances.
Yeah,
Oh, so
Whether
make sure
it's-
Chris Pratt knows about that.
yeah. Let him know.
He needs to make sure he brings that to his Mario.
Mm-hmm. By
So
the way,
like it's
yeah.
like Mario and Luigi are people, but then it's like Anthony Starr isn't Homelander, but then he becomes Homelander when it's boys' time. So
Yeah.
There you
Mario and Luigi are just like dudes showing up for their gaming gig,
go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then when the game, okay,
Yeah, like
that's real. That Miyamoto
like
said
what's
that?
his
I
name?
think he said that. In 3, they actually show it because there's literally a curtain that like drops and opens to start the story. But I'm
It's
pretty
like
sure
it's like
it was
Joaquin
a
Phoenix.
talking
Every role Joaquin Phoenix does, he apparently he's weird with it. Or Jim Carrey when he played what's his name in that Man in the Moon movie? Can't think of his
Oh
name.
yeah, where he said he was channeling his ghost.
Yeah, that if you haven't seen that documentary, recommendation for everybody listening: watch the Jim Carrey.
Andy Kaufman.
Is Andy
Oh,
Kaufman?
I've seen that. Yeah,
doc.
I watched that documentary.
That was nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Yeah.
Absolutely wild. I really enjoyed it, but it was something else, man. Anyway, those games are coming. Crash Bandicoot 4, I don't think people should sleep on it. Also, Crash Racing, Team Racing, the remake version of it is fantastic. It's as good as Mario Kart. Send your ats to me and yell at me as why to why I'm not.
You
you're
like
smart.
Crash too much.
I kind of like Crash. I don't know. I have a soft spot for him. I don't know what it is. And I'm right. And I agree with you about those first 3 games. I don't want to run toward the screen. It's lame. But that racing game's really good, and 4 is like a departure. So worth looking at.
It's also about time.
It is about time. Yep. It's about time that we talk about time. All right. How about Nintendo Mini Direct? There's a couple things worth mentioning here. Nier Automata coming to the Switch. I think that's a great place for that game. Because I'll be honest, when I was playing that game on PC or wherever I had it, it felt like I was playing a Zelda game, weirdly. There's a lot of Zelda-like moments for me in Nier, other than big invisible walls that I can't get past, which I freaking hate in video games. But I really liked Nier. Hey,
this is a good example of a Japanese game with a story that you like.
I got into it. Well, partly because it's apocalyptic as hell, and I'm into that. Just
Yeah, but
by
it's
default.
not a relationship simulator. Right?
No.
Although There's probably a little bit of that in there.
If you guys want to see something really weird, I just watched Mad God on Shudder, which is
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exciting.
good Lord. If you want to see, I mean, it's an art piece, really. That's what it is. If you are grossed out by stuff or just think weird for weird's sake is not your thing, maybe avoid it. But if you're like me and just love to see just stuff you've never seen before, this stop motion freaking masterpiece of a piece of weirdness. It's so weird.
I got to find out where that's streaming from. I guess Shudder's on Prime, so I probably...
Yeah, I think you can get it over that. Pretty sure. I got
I
Shudder
do
just
wanna
for this
see that.
reason.
It looks great.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's just as somebody who, admires the craft, it's really hard to look away from. And Phil Tippett, the guy who made it, has been known since Star Wars. That guy is like, one of the most famous effects / motion or stop motion animators in the history of the planet. And this is like his big opus. It took him like 10 years or something to do this thing. So anyway.
Yeah, not exactly a fast production pipeline for stop motion. So
No. But if you like body horror, this thing's got you covered. I can tell you what. Anyway, on to whatever was next. Oh, this story. This is pretty right up our hole. Okay, Blizzard Entertainment over there, part of Activision Blizzard, bought the Spellbreak developers and is shutting that game down. So they're buying that game, they're buying the devs and then they're shutting the game down. So that game will end next year. And it's a battle royale game set in a fantasy universe, which I actually was one of the BRs that I thought was at least doing something different and cool. But that's such a competitive nightmare trying to make a battle royale and compete in that space. I don't know why anyone would even try it, but they didn't work out great. The numbers aren't there, but they have the chops and the game's really cool. So they're bringing them on board to work on World of Warcraft, whatever that means. I don't know if this is purely a PvP move. that's about 100 staffers, 100 folks that are coming over, and it is directly to the WoW team. So I don't know what this means, other than I played some of that game, Spellbreak, and it's cool.
Yeah,
But
it seemed like a really cool idea, but actually, it's kind of funny because I was looking for games to play and I checked it out on Steam and I was reading the reviews and it's generally very favorable, but nobody's playing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what
So
I
it's
had heard
like,
too.
what?
Like the only things I'd heard about it were people going, "Yeah, this game's actually got something," but then nobody actually playing it.
That's what I mean. It's just so competitive, that space. I don't know how, with Fortnite and Apex and freaking Warzone and these big giant players that exist as kind of the battle royale place to play. I don't know how anyone else even wants to get into this unless you're doing something weird like Fall Guys is doing really well. Well, it's because you're a bunch of dopey looking little pill people racing to the end of a thing, and it's not just shooting each other like the rest of these games are. And at the end of the day, Spellbreak, for all its cool features, it really was just wizards, and instead of guns, you had a cool ice, blast, and instead of a car or whatever, you could fly short distances and then augment that flight. And they were kind of playing that game.
The presentation style was really nice. It had like nice art and nice like overall aesthetic.
I agree.
It.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah,
wasn't. It's. I feel like it's too bad because I really liked the idea, but like I also didn't play it. But there was, I definitely dug what they were doing with it, like a wizard battler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sort of sad. I'm understanding why it has to be that way, but I'm sort of sad the headline isn't Blizzard acquires studio in order to make Spellbreak awesome or something like that.
That would be cool. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Because they did this with
there's just a point where the market reaches saturation to a degree where even being different isn't enough to get you noticed, which is a shame. Like I feel like that's always the wave, right? Like you got a couple people that like kind of make the wave, and then you got a couple people that carve out their own little niche within it because they're doing something different, and then it just sometimes it even just feels like bad luck. So many at the same time gets lost in the chaos, and it kind of doesn't matter how different or unique you're being. Like it just gets overlooked in the noise.
Yeah. The other thing to consider here is this isn't that different than when they bought or absorbed. Oh, what's the name of the company? Crap.
The Tony Hawk guys.
Yeah, the Tony Hawk
Vicarious
guys.
Visions?
Vicarious Visions, which is hilarious because I played some GBA games this week for Play Retro, and I was shocked how many Vicarious Visions ports there were. Because those guys have been doing this forever, where they take some other property and then make a cool mobile port out of it. Anyway, this is something that struck me. But
we're working on.
So they're Diablo 2 now.
Or were they working D2R? I guess
Well, they were working. They had three.
D2, right?
They were doing a 3+4 of Tony Hawk. That was on the thing, ready to go when this buyout happened. Then they got thrown on Diablo 2 Resurrected, and those things got scrapped. So that is not happening anymore, even though they could because it's still part of Activision. But that got scratched, which is a real bummer because I think that would have been cool to keep going.
Yeah, I love Tony Hawk 3. So
3's great.
That was sad.
Yeah,
3 was sad bit of news to hear.
I think 3 was maybe my favorite.
I think it's kind of wild that they're bringing them on to work on World of Warcraft.
I do too. I don't know what it means.
You would think they'd have enough people to be working on that, and they don't. That sort of because you wonder, in light of all of this, how much shedding of talent is really going on there.
Yeah.
Like obviously, it's a big company. Lots of people are staying on, but
yeah,
there's over the years we've seen lots of people go, and I don't know.
New guard, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's what this builds, or maybe WoW's just in desperate need for such a shakeup, stylistically or play gameplay wise, systems wise, or something that this is a good sign about that. Like maybe these guys will be like, yeah, you want to now see how it feels to fight in Azeroth. Maybe it'll be different. I don't know. I don't freaking know. But they're bringing them all over.
An established property, so I think it's just so that those people. I think if they weren't bought out, then those people just don't have jobs. And that's kind of they sell to someone who'll take them on. The company stays afloat, and those people continue working.
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. All right, the Nintendo
story for them.
Yeah, exactly. The Nintendo Mini Direct thing happened also. Here's some stuff to mention. Oh, I already did. I talked about some of this already. All the personas are coming on there. So that's the thing. The Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope gets a release date coming in October. The word on the street is that game plays really well and is in between the turn-based battles, which it was famous for, the first one, are more Mario-like, which was the complaint about the first one. The complaint about the first one was it didn't really feel like a Mario game in between the sequences where you fought. And this supposedly brings a lot of that back. So your actual traversal to new areas or some puzzles to get through stuff to get to the next fight or whatever will be more Mario traditionally. And the actual battle system will still be a good turn-based XCOM kind of style thing. I'm a big fan of that first game. It's very, very good. These are the kind of games I wish they would put on PC. Since Ubisoft has a hand in this, I don't see why they couldn't do that, but they don't. But that's coming in October. I'll probably get it. Bomberman 2, R2 got announced. I say that because I like R1. I know it's a controversial title, but I love Bomberman, and whenever there's more Bomberman, I don't complain. Okay, that's just the rule with me. Even, especially now with Konami owning them, and they're just kind of butts about it. Anytime there's new Bomberman, sign me up. And Pac-Man World Remake coming to the Switch and everything else. Switch mentioned it, but it's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, PC. If you guys didn't play Pac-Man World on the PlayStation 1 back in the day, you missed out. That was a rad platformer. And I wish they would have built on it and made sequels. So next time you fire this up, there'll be a Pac-Man on the other end. I don't know why I said that. All right, let's move on. It's now time for Bo's Canadian Corner. Hold on. I was going to do a little theme for this.
Do you have the Don Cherry Hockey Night in Canada theme?
I don't think I have that. I do have this, though. Will this work? Here we go.
I got to do this. Hang on. No. We need the Hockey Night in Canada. It's decided. I'll try and find it for you.
Okay.
Everyone in Canada who's listening is going like, I know that song. Oh my god. They probably hate it because Don Cherry and Ron McLean have really petered out their legends over the past years.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Various ways.
I think I found it. Is this it? Here. Oh wait. This isn't it, is it?
That's not it.
Okay.
It's
Pretty
Coach's
good theme,
Corner.
Though. It's got laser sounds in the background. That's fun.
It did have laser
I
sounds.
know. Hang on. I think I got it. Here you go.
And this Don Cherry fella, he's what, like a million years old now?
Here you go. I got it for you. I'm going to put it in Discord.
Okay.
We built it up this much. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. I'm playing it.
It's been an institution in the age of TV. Like I said, Don Cherry and Ron McLean have really tarnished their reputations being crazy libertarian, conservative weirdos, etc. But it's the music we all recognize up here in Canada as meaning hockey on television.
Is that him with Spuds McKenzie? Is that what I saw?
I think that's his dog, but I can't remember what he's called.
Well, he's 100% Canadian, it says here. Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'em Hockey. Don's best hits,
by the way,
goals,
if
saves,
you're looking for a
goose.
good compilation hole to get into on YouTube, hockey fights still rule the day. Even I look them up sometimes. They're pretty awesome.
Oh, they're amazing. I don't like the ones where someone gets sliced in the face with a skate, though. That's no good.
Yeah, those are kind of rough. But
Well, anyway.
it's a real man's sport.
Well,
actually dangerous. Baseball and hockey.
Bo's going to spend a moment in the Canadian corner and tell us all about some controversial
so
video
there's
game
some
thing.
gaming news. All right, yeah, enough beating around the hockey net. There's some.
I like that you've turned this segment into a stereotype.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did it, and you've brought
Pucks
it right
fired
to it.
around the hockey net. I don't know why I'm doing this. I hate myself. No, but there's actually some headlines gaming related, and I thought it probably wouldn't hit your radar, but it is sort of news. And one of the big ones right now, there's a bill in Quebec, I think Bill 96. Now, Quebec's always been kind of rough because of the language laws there, and what they're proposing is that your access to public services and business would be only in French.
Oh.
Quebec has a $2 billion a year gaming economy, essentially. Ubisoft, Eidos, a lot of the games you love. I mean, Eidos was a Game Awards winner this past year, and Ubisoft's well known throughout the world. Just to name a few, there are tons of developers up there. None of that talent is from Quebec. A lot of that talent comes from outside of Quebec and are English speaking, and it's actually causing a huge issue for developers that are headquartered there because they can't attract talent if the people who come here need to speak French in order to be able to gain access to services and live. So it's still, I think, being proposed and hasn't been enacted into law, but I don't know. It's a gaming news.
That's
It's
wild,
a thing
though.
happening in Quebec.
So okay, but the end result of this would end up being what people would either have to learn French to be there, or they would have to not hire.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Canada was formed on a compromise between the English and the French,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of debate over the history, of it. French is a national language, but it's mainly only spoken in Quebec, and they do a lot. We're going to get into this in the other article, but there's a lot of factions that want to preserve culture. Too many Francophone people in Quebec speaking English. Oh no, that's a threat to French culture. We're going to mandate you speak French. And so there's always this French contingent politically pushing for French language laws in Quebec. French part of every sign has to be bilingual, and the French one has to be like 4 times the size of the English text. That's just imagine if one of you, New Mexico was like that, where it's like you have to speak Spanish in New Mexico. It's the law.
But doesn't
the
everybody
workplace.
in Quebec know English too? They all know it.
Yeah, but the Francophones find that an invasion of culture. They're like, we're French. Our language is French. So don't speak English. Speak the language of your, it's one of those culture things, right?
Mm.
Where it's like, and we're going to get into this in another article because
forced culture
Canada
always
and that
works.
kind of shit is like hand in glove.
Yeah. But this idea of forcing your culture on other people's always been it's always had a happy ending in human history. It's
But
always
they say
worked
it's
out.
your own culture, so you're hating yourself. And I grew up in Quebec. I was actually I went to French immersion school, and I've lived in Quebec a long time. This is a way of life for us. So, but it just touches gaming tangentially in the sense that maybe Ubisoft might no longer be if they can't operate and get the talent there, if this goes into law, there may be an exodus, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, wow. People, we're all thinking of coming up there. You're thinking about going
next. Yeah, up here's great and all, but one of the things they're going to have to get used to is, especially the next one, it actually affects our show.
Yeah.
Potentially. So, is in Quebec, better learn to speak French. You don't have to right now, but they're pushing laws in that direction.
Weird.
All
right.
Here's another news article. This tangentially relates to gaming. It more relates to our show. But there's a Canadian bill that the CRT is putting forward, Bill something or other, C11, I think. It's kind of cagey on how it dictates terms on this aspect of Canadian culture called CanCon, which is Canadian content. So prior to the age of internet, your TV stations had to have a certain percentage Canadian content. So for every episode of Cheers and Wings, you have to have an episode of Beachcombers, let's say. Never heard of it? Nobody outside of Canada's heard of it. You have to have an episode of Canadian content on there. That includes productions in Canada have to be staffed by a certain percentage of Canadian people. In some instances as well, there are rules about that. If the productions I think if productions are done inside the country, then you're lighting people. You can't just bring a bunch of Americans over. There's some percentage of actors and staff that have to be Canadian, and they have to have a certain percentage, I think, even of representation from the unions here, like in terms of actors.
Is Quebec Quebec's basically your
like
Texas, right? You guys have a Texas. It's just called Quebec, and they want to secede and have their own country. Is that the deal?
We have a couple like Texases. You got Quebec, and then you got Alberta. We got 2 of them, kind of.
Sweet.
But these are like old feuds and problems. And hey, democracy is great. We have debate, so have your perspectives. But the way this affects it right now is this bill would affect YouTube, Spotify, all kinds of content distribution to mandate to show like TikTok content, for example, with Canadian content percentage, and there being rules about it. And I'm dragging you into this because 1/3 of this show is Canadian content. That's me. Yeah. And so the rules say they won't tell them how to do their algorithm, but they will tell them what the requirements are for the algorithm. And of course, Google, et cetera, is pushing back, being like, listen, the best stuff rises to the top. That's how we do this. We can't be pushing Canadian content and growing up here, like most of our content sucks. Like for every Shorzy that you like,
Yeah, I love
there are
Shorzy.
500 things that blow chunks,
Mm.
and it's because we can't compete in the marketplace of awesome. We'll never have as much money as the Disneys and Warner Brothers and the NBCs and shit like that. Every now and we have good stuff, like people like Corner Gas and what's the other Kim's Convenience, like the
Schitt's Creek.
Bridge over the River Schmidt or whatever that show's called.
Schitt's Creek, but close. Yeah, Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek or whatever.
Bridge over the wait. I have to tell that
the
to my
bridge
wife.
over the River Schmidt.
Okay, I'm gonna remember that. Go ahead, continue.
Schmidt's Creek or whatever. But like most of it's junk, and that's just, and we all hate it. But at the same time, we're all kind of like, I mean, yeah, it would. We like, every time they do a cheap pop in Brooklyn Nine-Nine about Ottawa, I'm like, yes, Ottawa, it's awesome. So we do like seeing our own stuff there. Anyways, all that to say is maybe coming to the social media apps, including YouTube, including podcasts, and the place you find it. And like, if we don't maybe apply for license or something like that, it's possible our fine Canadian listeners will no longer be able to easily access Core, because it's considered an American show. So we may need to look at that if it goes through. So that's new. That's just the news. That's what's happening.
Can't we fake it? Can't we fake it to your government that they would be like, oh no, it's based here. Bo runs a show. It's based
no, we
here.
don't have to fake it. So let's not lie to a government. That's not a good, not a good direction for us, for anyone really. But we are CanCon, but we may have to, like, because you're publishing it from the States, your YouTube account might be in the States. So we might have to say, I imagine there's going to be bureaucracy associated with this in order to make sure we get on search algorithms in Canada. Not that I'm sure it's not where our bread is buttered in a big way. Anyways, I don't know what our metrics are, but I do know we have Canadian listeners, so I wouldn't want our discoverability to be ruined. But a lot of people are not fans of this because people are just going to thumbs down and hate the things or ignore the stuff they're forced to do. But that hasn't stopped Canada in 100. I hate to break it to the world. Like, Canada, they don't give a shit. They know they're right. And they're going to push it through. So probably it's coming.
It's like the idea of somebody putting together a Spotify playlist, and every time they add like 3 songs, a Celine Dion pops in there, and they're like,
no
"Where'd
matter
this
what
come
it
from?"
is,
Just like whatever you do doesn't matter. You're like, I want to add all the World of Warcraft soundtracks, and then all of a sudden you got the theme from Titanic popping.
It's like you gotta make sure I don't know, Paul Schaefer's in like a third of all your content or whatever.
I mean, I know as Americans, I think you said this probably sounds like insane to you that the government can dictate content, but
not lately.
No, that seems like the thing a government would want to do.
Feels like maybe sometimes,
we have a long history of CanCon, and like I would say, and like it makes sense. Growing up, I'd be like, Canadian content, turn it off. Sweet, it's time for Cheers, or it's time for Inspector Gadget, or something like I like anything but Canadian content. Please.
Part of the must-see Thursday lineup.
And so, like, this is the Quebec thing. Quebec's like, but what about our culture? Preserve it. And then Canadians like, what about our culture? We lose our Canadian identity. And everyone's like, just make good shit. We don't got people that make good shit. Then shut up and let me watch Star Trek, okay?
Yeah.
But
do you guys have any good sci-fi up there? Like, could you point to anything and go,
I think Orphan Black is a Canadian production, but I couldn't make it past
a good
the first
show.
episode.
It's all right.
I couldn't make it.
Like, you should just lean into that DALL-E technology, and anytime a flag of a different country origin is shown, you just replace it with the Canadian flag.
Yeah, just swap it out.
And then just throw in a couple of A's over all the dialogue and pretend 100% of the content is from Canada.
One other thing to point out here, Han Sanitizer says Battlestar Galactica was filmed in Canada. Like 80% of American stuff these days
much is filmed up
Canada.
there. Yeah.
But it's still, and they probably follow CanCon staffing rules when it comes to, staffing their production units. Yeah. But it's still not
That's not a Canadian production.
Like, that's the vacuous weird thing about what's considered Canadian content. It's like, there's a lot of stuff that's American made that is universal, especially sci-fi, that is like, I mean, is it American? Like, what does that even mean? We're so similar, but there's just a contingent of people that want to preserve Canadian culture, but they don't want to. I guess they don't want to get like that's the whole thing about government mandated stuff. It's more about bureaucracy than about finding what sells tickets.
Yeah.
And what is a good story, and you get poo content because it's about ticking boxes, not about moving people, and that's always been the difficulty here in Canada. Is we don't have a lot of that, and most of our talent you got a Ryan Reynolds, you got him.
Oh yeah, we already
Thank
got
you,
him.
America, for stealing Ryan Reynolds.
We got
from
Mike
us.
Myers. We got
you got Seth Myers. No, Seth, was it Seth Myers?
He might be.
No. Who's Mike Myers?
Norm McDonald. You
got Norm McDonald.
Well, we had him, but yes.
And you had Tom Cruise. You got Keanu Reeves. You got
Bieber,
the Wasp, Ant Lady,
the Ant Lady, right?
Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's another one.
Yeah, we just take them all. We maybe send them back when they're done, but
because those people are like, I can make a little bit of money, or I can make way more down here. You know, like, and there's even way more. I'm pretty sure 50% of a lot of the Hollywood people are somehow Canada connected. There's a lot of that.
I mean, Second City and everything that came out of that. The Kids in the Hall are all big again, and everyone loves them. They're Canadian. Like,
but there isn't much in the way of. There isn't like a healthy booming source of money behind selling CanCon. So
I will say this though: the term CanCon sounds like a recycling convention, and I really like it.
Yeah,
I want to go there. Yeah,
It
what are we
sounds super
doing?
appealing.
This is the aluminum content. Your average Coke can has gone down. What are we going to do? Well, I'll see you at CanCon. We'll have some ideas.
Yeah, and Omega 9 X6 is best. After living here for a while, Canadian culture is basically screaming, "We are not America." I mean, it's pretty much right.
Yeah.
Like.
Celebrate what you're good at and recognized for.
There is good Canadian content. I mean, Cronenberg is a Canadian director. Yeah. It shows in the style, the way he makes his films too. Mm-hmm. And that's about as Canadian a filmmaker as you'll find. Adam Egoyan is another one. There are some really good filmmakers and storytellers in TV, but not a lot, and not a lot of money in it. And I don't know. It's just. Everyone knows, like, you're not going to force something to be good or culturally relevant. Like, things just are culturally relevant, right? So,
be proud of being the culture that Americans pretend to be when they go overseas.
That's right. Is it true Seth Rogen's I didn't know he's Canadian.
Yeah, he's a Canadian.
Okay. Well, he should go back up there because the weed is plentiful up there. Wouldn't complain anymore.
Well, I think he hangs up all year, and when he goes needs a paycheck, he comes down here and works on stuff.
That's true.
You know, The Boys he's part of the he's one of the producers on The Boys. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah,
it's perceived as an American ass thing, but like my boy Seth is partially behind it. That's as Canadian as anything else too, right?
Yeah, glad he's not in it though. I don't need
Denis Villeneuve. There's a
I hate his laugh. It makes me want to die.
Denis Villeneuve, your Dune director.
Oh yeah, baby. He's as French Canadian as it get. That guy barely knows English, and we found out today that the movie Dune, not Dune 2, but Dune Part 2, got delayed by a month. So you have to wait till next.
But he's
November.
a traitor to CanCon. Like he's down in the States making your big movies. Why isn't he making the Trudeau the biopic up here?
That's a good point. It's you're exactly right.
Champion de Canada or something like that. Like come on, man.
That's where all the big Hollywood money is down here, baby. All
Anyways,
right,
that's Bo's Canadian Corner. I'm gonna download that song later and like clean it up and get it like as a part of the thing. And we'll use it on the show. Yeah, go ahead and do it. Like that the reputation of that bit is so in the ground now. It's probably fine to use it.
I do love I didn't know about this stuff. I like learning about it. I think this is great. So
yeah, I guess who's your TV like sports legend?
Well, he just died, but John Madden was a big one. I would say right now it's probably the guy that used to work with Madden, Al Michaels. Al Michaels is a
Canada's
big deal.
John Madden, but for hockey. That's
yeah, that sounds right.
And like I said, their reputation is so in the dirt. I'm not saying like I'm a big fan of them or anything because they both had. As the whole social justice, social sensitivity movement has come into round, they really have not done well.
They haven't handled that very well. Yeah.
No, but if you were in the 80s or 90s, they were the good old boys you saw on TV every time there was a hockey game.
Back then we had Al. Was it Al? Yes, who used to say yes all the time. Forgot his name.
Is it the guy that they always got for like the Jock Jam CDs?
Yes.
That would be the "It's awesome, baby."
Oh no,
like
that's
that
that's a different guy. That's
a different guy.
That's a different dude, and I forgot his name too. I can't think of anybody's name right now. Oh, Marv Albert. That's the guy I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah.
Marv Albert used to be. He was huge for a while. Like every big NBA game and finals and all that stuff. He's super huge. Went on Letterman all the time. Was like this very popular sportscaster, and then he got caught biting a prostitute's butt. And
was that what
you're gonna have one, like,
yeah,
was that the charges?
That was the charge. It was like bit her butt real hard and bled. It was real bad. And
well, you shouldn't bite a butt that hard.
I agree.
No.
Let me see.
But I mean, maybe that was. I guess they weren't just that into it. I mean,
let's see. Here it is.
I mean, okay.
He's 81 now. Stories. Holy shit, he's old now. But anyway, at the time,
I've told enough ghost stories for one show. But
Here it is. Albert was accused of sexually assaulting a 42-year-old woman named Vanessa Perchach in 1997. She accused Albert of throwing her on a bed and biting her and then forcing her to perform oral sex after a...
Emphasis on the oral!
DNA tested... So she was mad because he was way too pushy. DNA testing linked Albert to genetic material taken from the bite marks and semen in the patriarch's underwear, or no, whatever her name, Perchach's underwear.
In the patriarch's underwear. My dear, I'm going to bite your fanny, have my way, and then finish in the patriarch's underwear, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I feel a little bad that I said she was a prostitute. I don't think that part is correct. I don't know why I had that in my head, but
you just added that.
Yeah, I did.
But I mean, have you ever bitten by accident?
Well, I mean,
like,
well,
he
also
did it willfully with malicious.
Yeah,
intent,
and he threw her down and was like rough, and she was like not having it, and he was still persisting, and so there's a consent thing and all that.
I mean, I had an infraction, but it didn't result in me going to jail, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right, like if you bite a girl on the neck too hard, she'll let you know.
I bit a boob too hard.
Oh, geez. Oh, man, I don't want to know any of this. Why do I know this
These
now?
things happen. As you learn how to do things properly, maybe there was the bite. It was, but there was
an apology. This whole episode should be called Bo TMI.
Yeah, Bo TMI.
Just learning so much today.
Damn, yeah, that's good.
It's fine. It happens. We're human. But that's not what this is. I'm just because it's just
You didn't bite like a nipple off like a cigar and spit it out like
No. It was just, but it left a mark, and it was not appreciated, and I didn't realize that till after the fact, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll be more careful in the future.
Yeah. See, and Marv Albert didn't do any of that. He just went, get on the bed. Here's my semen, like that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound the same, but I don't know. I was like,
yeah.
That's why I was wondering what the charges were. Is it illegal? Did I do something illegal? I guess not.
It's a really good point. His final, by the way, broadcast was the Baltimore Ravens New York Giants game alongside Randy Cross and Len Berman back in, doesn't say the year, 98. And he's 81 now, and he's probably not putting his semen in anyone's underwear now, is my thinking.
Great.
It's like our job here is just to give Jamie stuff to put in.
We don't just say the news; we also deliver our deductions.
That's right. That's right.
I've thought about this, and at 86 years old, I do believe his semen is not going in the underwear of other people.
You're killing me. It actually hurt my neck to laugh there.
On that note, it's time for Dear Martha. Spicy or not, I don't know. She's back, everybody. Back again. And she's we're not doing a Steam review. It's an old magazine review. Electronic Monthly, Gaming Monthly, EGM. Remember that? I loved EGM. It was great for a while.
Yeah, I've decided to bring it back to the realm of reviews, at least for a little bit. I think most people who read EGM know of a famous editor that seemed to always exist, no matter how long the magazine ran. You could look and find the reviews of one Sushi X. And so we are going to be doing some of Sushi X's reviews from Electronic Gaming Monthly.
They made a
number
game
14.
About him.
Yeah.
Ghost of Sushi X.
Yep, he's in that game Scott's going to beat this year for sure.
That's right. Oh, I played that this week. We're going to talk about it. I actually played. Anyway, September 1990 is when issue 14 was released. And here we go.
My dearest Martha, I present to you now my review for the Nintendo game Total Recall. Martha, in the movie of the same name, Arnold's character's memory was erased. This game, based on that movie, should also have its memory erased. Total reject. Yours in this life and the next, Sushi X.
So it's actually him. All right. I don't know why I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I thought. That's totally
No,
fine.
I can do a few more because they're pretty short.
Give me another one.
We can do 3 of these.
All right,
How
here we
about
go.
that? We'll do 3. My dearest Martha, I present to you now a review for the Sega Master System game Super Monaco GP. This is a poor excuse of a driving game. If the SMS is supposed to be superior to the NES, then this game certainly doesn't show it. The game is too straightforward and comes off looking like a poor NES title. Keep the car in the garage. Yours in this life and the next, Sushi X.
Oh man, he's hardcore. All right, well done, Sushi X. And now a third. Let's do it in third. Law of Threes in video games.
Let's do a controversial one.
Yeah, because
this one doesn't hold up in the test of time, but let's do it.
You got to jump on not Mario. You got to jump on Bowser's head 3 times. That's what we're doing here. Here we go. Number 3.
My dearest Martha, I present to you now a review for the Sega Genesis game Moonwalker. This game is no thriller, but decent nevertheless, with initial gameplay similar to Shinobi, but with moves that made Jackson famous. Our hero dances on the faces of evil men. Rescuing kidnapped girls as music pulsates is as good as it gets. I'm waiting for a LaToya game. Yours in this life and the next.
Oh, man.
Sushi X.
Oh, my gosh. We never got the LaToya game. We just got her with a snake wrapped around her, or whatever the deal was. You remember that? LaToya Jackson? Well, I guess she was in Playboy or something.
Wasn't she on the Trump show?
Oh, was she? They have it like the Celebrity Apprentice
The
thing?
Apprentice? Yeah,
Maybe.
It wasn't LaToya.
I don't know. That sounds trashy enough for somebody like her to go on. Yeah, why not?
Oh my gosh.
That's kind of
Yeah,
rude.
yeah.
Did she deserve that comment?
I don't know if
Scott,
she
'cause
did or
I don't
not.
know enough.
I don't know.
She was on All-Star Celebrity Apprentice, I think, or something like
the
that.
ancillary Jacksons. I don't have any reason to say any of those things. It just feels like if you're gonna have if you're gonna have somebody from the Jacksons on The Apprentice, will it be Michael? No. Will it be even Janet? No.
No.
Will it be LaToya? Probably. Will it be Jermaine? 100%. Like you're gonna work your way down and you're gonna get those guys. Tito, he's going on. He'll do it. All right. Well done, everybody. That brings us to what we played this week. What'd you do? Find out something about LaToya?
No, I was just watching a clip and I forgot about Gary Busey on Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh yeah, him and
That
Meatloaf.
was must-see TV back in the day.
Man, Gary
Yeah.
Busey, man. Gary Busey's must-see TV on anything.
Yeah,
Did
he's
you ever
great.
watch the Gary Busey show that they had on?
Yeah, I loved it. Although it was a fake documentary, and I didn't know that at first, but I ended up loving it. I love that thing.
It'd just be him and some guy that doesn't know what's going on. He'd just be like, all right, now, here's what you're going to do. We're going to go out there, and I got an acronym for you.
Yep.
It's always be alert. And like he'd just go crazy, and his teeth were attacking people. It was amazing.
Yep.
I love Gary Busey so much.
He's
Also, his
amazing.
kid looks exactly like him.
He does. Jake Busey looks just like his dad.
Yes, he does.
I'm going to share something here with everybody. This is a video of him introducing the musical act on SNL. And the reason this matters is because I love this account, want to tell people about it. So this guy on Twitter, Snl Host Intro is the name of the Twitter account. And all it is, every post is some host of SNL at some point introducing the musical guest. It's weird, but here's Gary Busey in a giant suit doing that very thing. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure of mine to introduce these next 2 gentlemen to you.
he's real quiet.
They're really classical artists in their own right. Mr. Gregory Hines, and from the Broadway play Eubie, Eubie Blake. He's here himself, and let's put our hands together for him.
Brian Ibbott's theory is that his suit is the one he wore after his weird motorcycle accident, so it keeps him upright or something. I don't know what he was
Oh,
saying.
maybe he has a bunch of casts on underneath it.
He might. It was a while ago.
I mean, he is like that suit is wild. He looks weirdly hunched.
Mhm.
Like something's up.
Yeah, something's real
What's
weird.
up, Gary?
Yeah, what's up, buddy? He has a great TikTok where he gives advice on life and stuff. For example, here's a Buseyism
Does he
for
always
you.
do acronyms? Because that's what he always seems
Gary
to break
still
things down
Gary still
to.
with us?
Oh, he's still with us. He's
I didn't know that.
his right eye is more with us than his left. All right, I'm going to play this one here. You guys check this out.
When you're dreaming, it's great to dream in circles because you are the circle of your dream. You're right in the center of it. That dream is all about you, and everybody in your dream is you. So dream in circles, take what it gives you, and utilize it to become a circle of freedom in yourself.
It's so dumb. I don't understand any of it, but I love it so much. You guys should follow him on TikTok.
I think
That's
what's
all he
great
does.
about it is that he knows what he means.
Yeah.
He knows that made 100% sense to him. He's ready.
Super, super into it. Okay, let's get to these games we played this week. I played a couple of things. I'll mention the ones that I'm just kind of back to messing around with, and that would be Forza Horizon 5 and the one that I was just talking about earlier, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm playing that with my daughter again and just trying to finish it out. So I am going to finish that game. Will it be this year? Probably. Will it be the next? Maybe. I don't know. But I really like that
game of the year. Who knows?
Who knows? It might be. But I've been playing the Forza stuff with them introducing some of the Hot Wheels stuff that's coming. Just got me interested to just get back in there and mess around. That's a really great driving game. It's very, very fun. And
Get to race around as Scott?
Frog Pant.
Is that what they call you?
Frog Pant. Yeah, and the reason it's Pant and not Pants is because when you do it, you're making your license plate.
Yeah.
And your license plate has a limit on characters, and it's just barely too long to be Frog Pants, so I had to be Frog Pant. Anyway.
Well, let me tell you, as somebody with a 3-letter name, it is not as impressive when they say your name in a video game because it is over before you even realize they did.
100% correct.
They're just like, we're going to bring out our new racer, John.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what did I just hear?
Oh, and I guess they do call me Scott. That's right. So I have the name for the car and on my back of my car, but then they also call me Scott. So the lady's like, Scott, you need to come do this thing. Come race in the deal. Scott, she'll say. It kind of freaks me out. I don't like that she knows my name. Anyway, played that a bunch. And so I just wanted to mention those because they're old and we've talked about them a million times. So not much new to say. During the Steam sale, the summer sale, I grabbed a couple of games. One of them is Iconoclasts, a game I meant to get a couple of years ago, never did. It's a 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania kind of deal with amazing pixel art and animation. And I remember when it first came out, I went, I'm going to end up playing that game. And then I just forgot about it. And it was on sale for like $4 or something. Normally 20, and I'm like, I'm getting it. So I picked it up.
This game looks sick. Oh my!
It's really cool. I'll put some up for the chat. The style of it is awesome. The animation's really good. Lots of puzzle elements and stuff that you want from a game like that. Some pretty good difficulty, I would say, although not too crazy difficult. But if you look at the let's see if I can hit play here and show this to the chat. You look at some of this character animation, and that's what really sold me. It's also really well reviewed, so that helps. But the description here is: join renegade mechanic Robin and uncover the secrets of a dying planet. Explore a big world filled with intricate puzzles, interesting characters, menacing bosses, and a beautiful platform adventure that tells a personal story about faith, purpose, and the challenge of helping people. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
this game looks good. Actually, it was only $7. I just bought it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Man. Bo's in.
Yeah, Bo's
I
in.
was like looking at the animation style and just like, I don't know, it looks super dramatic. It looks sick, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really
I
cool.
like
know it
the way
existed.
this looks a lot.
Yeah, it's really neat. And the story is surprisingly, it's my kind of story. So, hey, Persona, take a page out of the Iconoclast book.
I also like that they have like yelling and the text is animated and agitated. Like there's just sort of a sensibility to it. It looks cool.
Yeah, and there's some stuff with that wrench that she uses.
Very brave calling it a catchy name like Iconoclast.
Iconoclast.
Like, like I like it, but it's not a. It's a highfalutin word.
Well, it sucked me in pretty hard, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So I'm going to play that one until I'm done.
That's awesome. Did you manage to play through the entire campaign?
No, not yet. I've probably played 3.5 hours or something. There's plenty more to do. So there's lots in there, and I'm really enjoying it. The boss fights in particular are really creative and well handled. They're not like excruciatingly difficult, but they are creative, and that's kind of what I look for in games like this. So worth checking out. And in that same mood, I finally grabbed Bloodstained because that was also on sale. This is the dude what made Symphony of the Night all those years ago. Yeah. And this was his big comeback, and his Kickstarter was real successful, and they called it Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and it feels like a skinned Castlevania game. It's 3D, but done in a 2D gameplay loop. It's a mixed bag for me visually. I think it's kind of I don't know. But mixed bag's the best way to put it. It's just kind of like some stuff's like, whoa, that looks great. And other times you're like, these creature models are bad. And I don't know why they're so bad. And it's a weird mix of that. But the gameplay and the story is like ripped right out of those kind of games. It feels like I'm playing Aria of Sorrow or Symphony of the Night. Very similar kind of gear systems, that kind of stuff. And so far so good, but I barely cracked it. So I'm probably, I don't know, an hour into it. And I'll keep poking at that because it seems good. I always end up with a couple of things during these sales, so that's what I did there. I would like to now introduce the delightful indie of the week. Okay, I'm not going to do this every week, but I am today, and here's our theme.
I have the chef.
I couldn't find anything else, so that'll have to. No, this will work. Robert. We'll do Robert. I found a game called Super Ember Kaboom. By one Ember Kaboom. It's by a guy named Josh Koenig. It's one dude made it. Single developer. I always love supporting these guys, so it was a no-brainer to pick it up. It was only $7 on Steam. And I've been telling you, I've been kind of itching for just like a pure platforming experience. Like just let me go left to right. Let me get things. Let me earn stuff. Let me finish the level and go to the next one. Just for whatever reason, I'm in the mood. Yeah. And this really scratches that itch for me. It's an adorable, fun, good time. I won't say it's like particularly difficult, at least not yet, because it really isn't, but it is fun and loud. The music reminds me of something Sega might have done. I'll see if I can actually find a little bit of that. Yeah,
it looks a little like Kirby adjacent on the art style. I like it. I like the look of it.
Yeah, it's got a good look. Let me back this up and I'll play a bit for the chat. Here you go, chat, and then we can hear it as well. This is what it sounds like. Here we go. There. I mean, that music is like, hey, heard of Sega? Ever had a Dreamcast? Guess what? This music's like straight out of that. But it's just kind of cute.
Some anime.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's kind of cute. Oh yeah, it is like an anime intro, right? The only thing missing is like somebody going, and they'll start singing or whatever. It's a bad version of that. Exactly. But anyway, pixel art, fast gameplay, side-scrolling business, overworld like Mario a little bit as far as choosing where you're going to go next. You're trying to collect all this fruit. And it's just a fun, jaunty, good time. I like it a lot. And I think that guy deserves some props. So it's Josh Koenig's Super Ember Kaboom on Steam. And that's this week's delightful indie title of the week. All right. John, 2 flavors, not 1, 2 flavors of Final Fantasy VII. Explain.
That's right. So on my own free time, I've continued to play Final Fantasy VII Remake because I just can't seem to put that game down. I booted it up basically as an excuse to play something, to kind of, show graphically a bit of a graphic showcase game to play at one point. And I've been hooked ever since. And I just continue to really appreciate what that game's doing. The second playthrough definitely feels more like I'm engaged in the combat side of things because I've already seen the story, which is still good. I still like the music and the story and all those things, but it feels like this time around, I'm just appreciating the combat that much better and still just really having a wonderful time in that game. And I'm not to any of the content that has been added for this version that I didn't get to play on the original Final Fantasy VII Remake release, but I'm going to check all that stuff out, the stuff with Yuffie, and see what's going on with that. And then on the other side of that, I'm still playing through the original Final Fantasy VII with all the mods that I've installed on it, which in its own way feels like a weird, re-release of a classic game because it does look really good with those mods installed. And I'm finally It's not that I haven't liked it, but my playthrough of the older game was initially a lot of stuff that I had already done, followed by maybe not my favorite section of the game, kind of a place where a lot of the random battles were, I felt like excessive, and I just wasn't having a lot of fun. And I've just kind of now hit the point where I've really found a flow with that game. Like the systems have all clicked, and I'm enjoying just going around and like fighting random encounters and getting new enemy abilities and playing around with my materia builds and stuff like that. I've really filled out the character roster. I picked up Vincent. I picked up Sid. And just having a grand time with that game. So, I think both of those games, if you like Final Fantasy VII, there's two really good ways to get it. I still get people asking me which mods that I use for that game, because I think a lot of people out there are kind of like where Bo's head was, which was, this is a game I really love. I'd like to play a better looking version of it without like it being a weird quasi sequel or reinterpretation of events. Just get to see it how it was. And this is definitely fulfilling that and scratching that itch. So I'm having a hell of a time in Midgar. It's fun place to be.
Nothing wrong with that. That sounds great. I watched a bunch of your streaming, and you've definitely pushed me closer to just pulling the trigger on the game. It's probably the next game I'm going to buy. Honestly, I think I'll buy it.
Yeah, do it.
Why not?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's on Steam. It's on sale on Steam for 30% off. What am I thinking?
Oh. Yeah, go ahead and do it. I mean, if you have the time to play it, you might have a lot of other games to play, but this is...
Yeah, but this would be the time to get it, because it's normally $70. I can get it for $49.69. I mean...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like right now it's its normal price is expensive, I think.
I'm gonna get it.
We're PC gamers, we're not ready to take the dive to $70 just yet. We're gonna be grouchy about it.
Yeah.
So I bought it right away and I already owned it. All right, I bought it the second time, full price on launch day.
A whole different bag of chips.
Not a problem. Like some games are like, this game pushes forward something in a meaningful way. I think Remake is really well done.
Yeah, it's
no
solid.
I'm doing it the second time.
I'm gonna keep trying to talk you into it every week, Scott.
I might buy it right now while you're talking.
You should. Now's the time before the Steam sale ends. Get it.
Tell me about your Final Fantasy Tactics time, and then I'll
okay, well, let me tell you about... So, hey, everybody. Crazy. I played a mobile game. I know that might be a shock to people who've heard my opinion on mobile games, but I downloaded Final Fantasy Tactics for the phone.
What?
Which is a place where I hear people play video games sometimes.
Uh-oh.
And it's not one of those, like, this isn't a gacha experience. This is a game is like $15. So for me, I'm like, it's only $15 for a game. But I'm sure there are people out there that play mobile games that are like, what? Insanity.
So
$15. Are you out of your mind?
The Switch game for your phone, basically.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. I'm be honest with you. I don't know if I'm gonna keep playing it though. It might be $15 poorly spent. But here was the thought: in my new house, I have an electrical outlet, like literally right next to the toilet. If I want to do some marathon,
right next to the toilet?
Yeah. If I want to do some marathon like phone gaming, no, not like it's not like down in the water. It's like up.
Yeah, maybe for me, if I missed the bowl or something.
Yeah, it depends on where I've pointed my penis, I guess. But like in general, it's pretty safe where it is. It's like up and to the right.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
It's fine. But yeah, I mean, like, hey, if I need to do a phone marathon in the bathroom, there's ways to deal with the battery issue. This is
Final Fantasy Tactics was gonna be your quasi get away from the family peacefully in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and not lose your phone charge while you're doing it.
Exactly. I had it all planned out, and it was a good plan. The only thing I didn't account for, which I should have accounted for, is that playing games on your phone sucks. The entire time I'm playing it, I'm just like, this could be so much better if this was on literally anything other than the phone. Like, every time I'm like tapping a unit and telling it to go somewhere, and I'm like rotating the camera with my finger, I'm just like, oh god, there's a better way to do this.
You need a backbone.
I do, but I literally, this is the first mobile game I've like seriously bought and played in forever. Like, why would I invest more money just to try and find maybe another one? Like, I agree. The Backbone's a brilliant idea.
They probably don't have it on Switch though.
No, I think they do. I think that's on Switch.
Do they? Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I just need to get it on Switch or something. Because yeah, it's like it's a fine port. Like it seems like a solid game. Sounds great. The graphics are great. Gameplay it's Final Fantasy Tactics across the board. It's a very beloved game. But the entire time that I play it, I just sit there going, boy, this would be better not on a phone.
It's the pinching and turning. You don't like controlling the camera like that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like controlling the units, and I don't like scrolling through menu options like this. Like it's just this is not for me.
So apparently it's in the middle of a remaster and it is coming to Switch. So there's something going on there, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, I have heard that they're going to remaster it, so that would be cool. That would be great to see and get. It's one of the ones that is the most requested for me to play when I started saying I was going to play through all of them. So I'm looking forward to it. But the phone one, if you can play phone games, I highly recommend it. It's not that expensive. It's by all accounts an extremely long, in-depth game. Like you will get your money's worth, but you have to be like okay with the premise of playing on a phone to begin with, which is where I fall off.
Yeah, you were they already had you a little bit blocked at the door, but I still think it's, I don't know. I think it's brave that you bought it and that you're playing it, and maybe you'll stick with it. You don't know.
I don't know. It's there. I can still play it anytime. It's the game on my phone. So I have all the choice of one, and I can do that.
Yeah, the choice of one is actually, with the choice paralysis we're faced with as gamers these days.
Yeah,
the choice of one's pretty good.
Yep.
All right. Well, there's that.
Great Spice Girls song too.
You also cracked open Grim Dawn.
I did. I bought all the DLC for it. So just in case anybody needs to know how that story ended, I did.
Yeah.
Part of the Steam sale, I bought the 3 DLC pieces for Grim Dawn because I couldn't stand not being a completionist, I guess. But the cool thing is the class I ended up playing was one of the classes that are in the expansion content. So I do feel like, okay, I'm at least using it a little bit.
Is it the Evoker? Is that what they're called? Not Evoker.
It's some paladin adjacent sounding thing.
They use a lot of light, the righteous light power and that kind of stuff. I forgot the name of it. There's a great way to cross that particular class with a necromancer, which seems like polar opposites in terms of their alignment, but it is a badass build. It's an amazing character combo.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
sounds like a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm very early. Let's be clear, because I am having a bit of a hard time getting into it. Not because I think the game's necessarily bad, but I ran into this same situation with Old World, where there is a game that is very similar to a game that I know a lot about and I know all the ins and outs. And it's kind of like wearing somebody else's shoes. You put them on, they don't feel quite right. They might be better shoes than the shoes you're used to. It could very well be, but it's weird and wrong for a little bit, for sure. And I'm like, weapons are dropping, and I think the first thing I got was a green. I was like, awesome, equip it. Then a yellow dropped, and I was like, equip it, that's got to be better. And then I was like, I don't know what the hell a yellow is. I don't know if that's better than the green. Why am I making these assumptions? It's just different, and I got to get used to the different first.
Sure.
And then the other thing is, I think one of the best things Diablo 3 did, as far as compliments I can give that game overall, is they went really heavy on anything you do in that game, from your first basic attack to your first ability on the tree, is big and bombastic and over the top. And it's always turned up to 11 in that game. Grim Dawn, at least so far, is not turned up to 11.
It's a little more
I got my first couple abilities, and it's turned up to about 2.5.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like, hey, remember Diablo 2, where you start out a little soft, and then you are. I think that's a fair thing to say. I mean, I think some people like that, but I think it's fair to say that Diablo 3 made you feel really powerful immediately, even if you were killing at the same rate as you would be in a less exciting, action bar type game. But Diablo 2's progression, Titan Quest's progression, even Path of Exile for that matter, they all have opted, and Grim Dawn have all opted for this more, you're just a dude with a sword to start with, and your first few abilities, one's like a passive, the other one's like not too flashy, and they definitely do that to you. They get better though, to the point that by level 20 or so, the whole place is exploding. Like you saw,
and that's what I think I'll build up to, which is why I don't want to like condemn the game for this. I'm not gonna like uninstall the game because like, oh, my first ability sucked. But you do expect like, oh, these undead are coming at me and I'm just gonna knock them across the stage, because that's the power fantasy that Diablo definitely goes for. And my first ability causes a gentle light to soothingly emanate from my body, just like barely perceptible, just. Oh, and then I swing just like I normally swing, but with a gentle light, as if I've been toasted in the oven ever so slightly as I hit the skeletons. I was like, this is it? This is what I just put points into for leveling up? This doesn't feel very good.
Was it an ability that had, what am I trying to say? Is it one that's a toggle on and off, like a buff type thing? Or was it
No, it's a replacement for your left click attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. It does. I fully cop to that. The game starts out kind of that way, but it pretty quickly ramps. I mean, you're not that way for long. You level very quickly in those early levels, and you immediately get, oh, this is better, and you just start putting points and stuff, and before you know it, you're kind of a monster. But it'll take you a few.
And the story is interesting enough. Like, it's in the same vein as Diablo. Like, hey, there's evil, go get it. Like, I thought it was interesting that it starts the way it does. Definitely lacking on the character customization. Didn't get stuck at the character generation part of the game, that's for sure.
No.
They were like, hey, you want to play as a guy or girl? And I was like, let me customize my character. Let me pick girl. And they're like, this is girl.
Yeah, welcome to girl.
Oh, this is what I get. I don't get to hair color, any of that. Nope. Like this is
yeah, but for the record, Diablo's the same. 3, that is. 4 looks like it's going to be crazy with customization, but 3, you just pick a dude or the lady, and that's who you have.
Well, yeah, of multiple classes. This is before you even pick your class. This is
good point. Yeah,
choice number 1 is man or girl.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no like, are you a giant barbarian or a giant lady barbarian? Like it is just. This is man, this is woman.
Yep.
Pick.
Yep.
And go.
Yep. You're absolutely right. And I didn't mention it before, but I played a ton more Grim Dawn this week as well, and I'm really happy to hear you're in it. I am very curious about how you'll feel later down the road, like getting to the 15 to 20 range. I mean, the game caps out, I think, at 100 or something. It's like a big level run.
Yeah.
But
it's just overwhelming right now. Like I went up to a guy because he had a mark above his head, and I went to talk to him, and my options to talk to him was like, I'm sick of all these illusions, which I didn't know what the hell that meant. And, or it was like, thank you, goodbye. And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm sick of illusions. And he's like, yeah, me too. Here, take this. And I was like, thanks. I don't know what this is for, but he gave me an item that takes up space in my inventory because apparently there's illusions somewhere that I just hate. Yeah. And so that's where we're at. I got this thing from this guy. And then I talked to his buddy next to him because he also had a sign. And I had 2 choices to say to him. And it was, I'm sick of these illusions. And he was like, great, I got something for you. Yeah. I was like, what is this? So it's a learning curve. And I'm in the middle of learning, which is fun, but always very awkward because you feel like such an idiot.
No, I feel you. I totally feel you on that. Also, making the right choices. Did I spec this character the way I want to? Am I going to have to undo a bunch of these points? Like, you're back to that, whereas Diablo 3 was just swap shit out as needed. This game is a little more, not quite as draconian as Diablo 2, but you still, you got to go back and respec in a way that's, it's a little bit of work. You talk to the lady. Okay, I'll give you your points back for these things. Then you go reassign them, and there's that whole thing. But what was the other thing I was going to tell you? Oh, the transmog system in this thing is insane. You're nowhere near where this is going to matter, but when it does, holy shit, you're going to love it because you love transmog. You'll get
I
into
do.
That.
That's fashionista is who I am.
Yeah, they got a ton of that stuff, and there's a pretty good crafting system, and they've got kind of everything there you'd ever want. Plus, I think the expansion content's very good. So I don't know. I'm in this to watch where you end up. And if you bounce, it's totally fine. But I'm going to be really curious what you think in the long run. All right, Bo.
Hi.
What is Gordian Quest, and why is it basically orc massage? Just kidding. What is it?
You didn't. Why is it orc massage?
Everybody wants orc massage, man.
Everyone wants orc massage.
Even that Matt Tazarek who put together that mock-up core magazine thing. At the top it says hard space shipbreaker, orc massage, Valheim, and more. I love it.
It's Destiny.
I had someone in my stream offer to buy it for me, and I really seriously considered letting him do it. And
I don't know what it is.
Man, if somebody's gonna buy me a game, it should probably not be Orc Massage.
All right, where's is Orc Massage still on Steam? Why can't I bring it up?
I assume so.
It's there.
Oh, it starts. I wrote Orc Message.
That's a different.
That's
game.
a boring game. Nobody wants orc message.
You're not that kind of orc.
Here's my message. Oh, I saw this, and I wish listed this Gordian Quest. It looks nice.
So you didn't end up playing it before?
No, I haven't bought. Well, this is I wish listed it before the special. I didn't realize it had gone on sale.
I wasn't sure if you had or not, but yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe you had tried it out at some point and told me about it. I wasn't clear, but I've been watching this one for a while.
Yeah.
It's been in early access for like 2 years. So, what is Gordian Quest? Well, Gordian Quest. Do you like Slay the Spire?
I do.
Single player rogue.
Yes.
Do you hate the art in a lot of these things?
Yes.
Maybe everything except
Yes.
Griftlands.
Yeah.
Do you like Path of Exile-ish loot system?
Sure.
Do you like Path of Exile leveling nodes, kinda, but simpler?
Sure.
Do you like RPGs, squad-based RPGs?
Yes.
Well, it's all of these
Yes.
things
Okay.
in one game with actual good art. I would say this art's pretty nice looking.
It's
It's like a French anime style. It strikes me the most as not Japanese animation, but French animation style. This game's fun as hell. Every time when I'm like away from it, I'm like thinking about it and I want to get back to it. Basically, you are a party of 3 heroes. You build decks like you do in Slay the Spire, but the goal is to make the decks smaller, not bigger. Although you can make them bigger. It is super flexible. Basically, there are 10 classes. The 10 classes have 3 different subclasses, and you can mix and match cards from the different subclasses as you see fit. You roll out, you level up your dudes. It's basically a full 30-hour campaign. And there's a lot to love about it in terms of it's well animated. It does D&D skill checks. There's like events that come up where you have to do skill checks or fail. There's cool little mini games. The sound, the music's decent, and the whole overall package is great. I would say each act of the 4 acts has been taking me about 5 to 10 hours per. And there's a ton of flexibility. So there's just 2 problems with this game.
Itemized loot as well, like
yeah. The loot's random, so no 2 legendaries are the same. You roll random affixes on the loot. So it has a whole Diablo-style loot system. You walk back to town with a big bag full of loot. You can salvage it for mats to build other things. You can just straight up sell it. You can gamble for legendaries. It's also like a little bit a part Diablo Path of Exile-ish, not just in the way the loot's done. The loot has gems that you can socket into it to modify the cards. You can modify the cards of the skill tree. It is deep. It is fun. This game does item science pretty well, but it's an indie game. So the balance, and this is where I would say it's a bit of a negative so far for me, is that I broke the game. I have a broken build. In Act 1, I got a legendary chest that gave me this card, Heroism, that grants me 10 might and 45 critical, and then doubles it. So critical is you get extra damage on the exact next hit, and might increases your percent damage on the next hits, however many stacks you have. So anyways, long story short, because of this card and another card I have, and because of gems I was able to slot into the items, I can start combat guaranteed with these 2 cards in hand, and I can kill the entire screen by doing 1 billion damage. And I got that in the middle of Act 1, and I'm now early in Act 3, and I'm still just poning pretty much all the encounters, except the Horde encounters, because not all the enemies are on screen during a Horde Horde encounters are cool, meaning you don't just kill what's on screen, but more dudes get added every time. Bosses also have like thousands of hit points, so the strategy doesn't work for that. But mostly I can just go kill, and it pretty much broke the game. However, this game has 5 levels of difficulty, and I'm playing on the second normal. So part of me is like, I want to go play back on the 5th. I should probably play on the hardest difficulty because then there's a real challenge there because obviously it's too easy for me.
Yeah.
There's also options to make it rogue light. Rogue light means if you party wipe, your campaign run is over. You got to start back at the beginning. Rogue like means if any of your 10 characters die, so you have a stable of 10 classes, so you can swap out the classes at any time if you want to change it up. So those guys are perma-dead, and if you run out of all 10 of your characters, you're dead. So there's some hardcore options in there. And I haven't gotten to yet, but there's also a Slay the Spire type mode where you just do a run and go as long as you can. And then there's an end game where you do, I guess, rifts or something like that and level up your dudes. So this game is awesome. Like I said, the only bad thing right now is just being too overpowered makes the game pretty trivial for me. And I also hate the word Gordian. As far as I know, there's no lore-related reason for it to be a Gordian quest. There's no land of Gordia. There's no legend of Gordia. The Gordian, like, I don't know what a Gordian is. So just call it Guardian Quest. Like, what is up with this weird spelling? But just ignore that because it's literally the only blemish on this fine game for $15 or so.
Yeah, $14.99 on sale right now.
It's a fantastic game.
Okay. Yeah, I had it on my wish list. Now I'm super.
That's where I've heard it before. I looked it up because I knew I had heard Gordian before, but I couldn't remember where I had heard it.
Yeah.
It's from Gordian Knot, an intricate problem, especially a problem insoluble in its own terms, often used phrase "cut the Gordian knot."
So so this really just means difficult quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is Gordian still a proper name, like Einstein's theory of relativity, like a Gordian knot?
Oh, I see. Like a guy named Gordo, and
yeah, like you know.
Yeah, somebody named Gordo had the knot named after him.
I think it's tied to the story where it's from. A knot tied by Gordius, king of.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I don't know how to say
that is a
it.
proper noun then.
Phrygia.
Yeah, probably correct. I have no idea.
Yeah. Phyrexia. Yeah, I don't know either, but anyways, yeah.
But I get it.
It's just weird. It just doesn't. It looks gourd awful when you see it right now. You're just like.
I mean, it sounds like you have stomach problems whenever you talk about it. Like,
right.
Whether it's actually a thing or not doesn't matter. Every time somebody says Gordian to me, I'm like, oh, you got the rumble gut.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a bad case of Gordian gut. Yeah.
It's just you look at everything this game has to offer, and like the art, like
art looks awesome.
It's not like a fully animated deal. It's a lot of few frame animations, like when they punch. But that's fine. That's the style for these games, and the art that is there is just well drawn and well done. Like it's really good. They also do the unfortunate anime thing where they don't have. The dialogue is not written by a voice narrator, and I get it. Not everyone can afford to voice their entire games, especially when they're full of dialogue. But they do the so when it's their turn to talk, they have a little noise they make, and some of them, one of them's like, "Huh." It always makes me laugh. She's like, "Yeah," and it's just like I'm like, "Hello." It's funny, but you get sick of it. Yeah. But this game is fun with the caveat that right now I'm poning the shit out of it, so I got to try it on a harder mode because it does trivialize the challenge a bit, and like I just still like the game enough that I keep going through it. But I would like.
Can you change that on the fly, the difficulty, or no?
I mean, I could just play a different class and stop cheating, but I'm like, no, this is my Gordian quest. This is what happened. I'm not gonna gimp myself because I found this legendary fair and square and did the thing.
Sure.
Square.
This is Gordo von Gordian the Third, and that's who's. I get it, but you can't slide. You can't adjust difficulty on the fly, or no.
You can't. I don't think you can do it on the fly. I'd have to start a new save slot. There are other slave slots. Oh my god,
slave slots. Oh man,
slave slot. Please disregard the last thing.
Rising. You're just thinking about all those coffins.
That's true. You do have. They don't call them that. They have, I think, a nicer term for them. I call them thralls.
Underpaid mandatory.
I think
listeners.
servant.
Safe way to get around the S word.
I think they just say. I think they say servant is what I think it says.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's vampires. It's part of the lore. We don't need to be sensitive about vampire thralls here. It's
You know what? You know what's great? Bo's he's like the equivalent of like a good real world neighbor, because I hadn't been able to get into that game for a couple of days, just busy, and I left things a little precarious with how much blood was pumping through my.
You weren't
my
in
heart.
too bad shape though. You
Wasn't
still
too
had
bad.
5 days in yours.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad, but I logged in and Bo filled all my blood holes. That was kind of cool.
I got to go back in there. It's been a little bit since I played. But yeah, I filled your blood holes, and I went to go fill John's blood holes, and his castles were gone.
Yep, mine are gone.
So what happened?
Well, one of them I destroyed myself. The other I just wasn't in the mood for it. And I wasn't in the mood for it for too long.
Yeah,
What
the problem.
happened.
The problem.
The problem is I have a real issue when a game suddenly becomes a chore. This is one of the big pain points that I had with World of Warcraft. What happened was I kind of knew in the back of my mind, like, okay, I've got about 2 days that this can sit without me doing anything. And those 2 days went by, and I had a little bell go off in my head that said, hey, you got to log in, put that blood back in your castle. And it just felt like work to me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. It can rot. It's fine. And it actually made me more inclined to just let the game be, because I was like, no, I'm not going to have a game tell me how my evening's going to go.
Part of it's
I
because
think
it's
that's
a live
the problem
server.
with online servers. Like, there's a bit of a commitment there, because I think if you just play a local save file, everything just pauses until you play again. And so
including time of day. So if you're in the middle of a what do they call that? The red moon or whatever, the
blood moon.
Blood moon. It will stay in the blood moon mode while you're offline because it's not a server. But that does make it feel like it's got MMO requirements, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get why it's there. I don't necessarily hate the mechanic. I'm not headed to the forums to be like, you ruined the game, but it's just like, that's my own mental hang up on things. As soon as something feels like chores to me, or like the game is running me instead of vice versa, I'm just like, I don't know. And it really killed a lot of interest to play, unfortunately.
Well,
I think it makes sense to me, man. Like, I sort of get it, because it's, it's a chore. It's a chore to log in. That's why I did Scott a solid, and I was going to do you a solid, but you let it lapse. I was going to do Kyle a solid, and his is gone too.
Didn't he move though? Him and Garrett moved somewhere.
I don't know what happened exactly.
I'll have to find out. Maybe they bailed. I don't know.
It's the whole thing. Everyone's busy. They like V Rising. We like a lot of games. It's just the blood obligation. Like, I like it still too. I know people are on the server like, where are you? Still playing this game? It's like, yeah, but I want to play Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Gotta play some other things. But
I bought that, by the way. It's installing.
I have the server.
We got him, Bo. We did it.
Well, Steam
I
got
have a
me because
server
they
for
saved
Valheim
me.
still that I pay for, and I'm gonna keep paying for the V Rising server. So
Sure.
On there.
I think. There's a patch for V Rising today. What's the deal here?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let's see.
Anyways, that was my other game I played. I did play some though, and it was fun.
Patch notes: hotfix 7 plus new features, bug fixes, and general changes. Ooh.
It's a small one. We added Steam's cloud support for private games.
Oh, that's cool.
I hope they didn't mess anything up on the server. I'll probably log in tomorrow and check it out.
Final Fantasy VII Retrograde or Infograde or what is it? Intergrade is installing.
Retrograde.
It's halfway. It's 35 or 36 gigs down. So we're
it's a big fella.
Yeah, that thing ain't.
That's all those sweet graphics, man. I'm excited for you. This game is fun.
Yeah.
I am too. You guys really sold me on it after
The soundtrack
watching
is beautiful. The story is well told. It's not full of that Persona stuff that you don't care for. There's definitely melodrama.
I'm fine with that in this context because I feel like Square does that stuff better for me. My tolerance for that stuff is much better with Square games than most.
Is there anything? I guess the only thing I think Scott's not going to love is the Kupo kids, probably, but that's about it.
I think Jesse will probably annoy him, but it'll be.
Jesse's a sweetheart.
I know. I like her too. I'm just telling you, Scott will find her annoying.
I know. You're such a monster, Scott.
I am a monster. Truly.
He hasn't even made a judgment. I just said a convincing argument. Bo's like, man.
Yeah, I can't believe you hate this
character. Give her a
characters.
chance is all I'm asking.
All right.
If you hate her, but just give Jesse a chance.
I've known I know nothing of Jessie, and I have no memory of the old game really, so I don't. Maybe I'll love her. I don't know. She might be great.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to play
We're just making
it.
predictions. At the Koopo kid, there's a bunch of kids who are in a Moogle gang, and they end their sentences with Koopo, and I'm sure you're not going to like
Okay,
that.
I already hate it.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
I do hate that already.
It's a small part of
He's
the game, though. Don't
definitely not gonna like the Materia kid. What's his
I like
name?
how we
Can't
waited
remember
till
his
after
name.
he bought it to sell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
now
that
you're
was-
naming all the
These
stuff.
are little things.
This
These
game
are-
is
these are
perfect.
little quibbles.
There's
It's
no
fine.
there's
It's
no
fine.
greater game on the market. Okay, now let's talk about
Now,
the Koopo kids.
Here's the thing.
Yeah. That's
This
okay.
happens a lot with Final Fantasy. You convince people to play it or do it. And
No.
Then you come
it's-
with your list of caveats.
It's 95% great. So let's stop this.
All right.
Just give this game 157 hours, Scott, and then you will really like it.
It's also 95 freaking gigabytes. That thing's huge.
Yeah.
That's a big game.
Dude, the game is so good.
I'm very excited to play.
We're all playing.
I think I'm going to play tomorrow. I wish it was co-op now. All right, here's the deal. We got to play this mashup. And before we do it, the name of the mashup from TMS Mashups, Jamie, is Big Bag of Rectums. Now, there's been some controversy as to who said this. So we had votes like usual. Right now, 69% of you think I said it. 28% think Bo said it. 3%, a paltry 3% say John said it.
Yep.
So I don't honestly know. It sounds like something I could say, but I was wrong last week, right along with you guys. I thought it was me last week, and it wasn't. It was Bo, right?
I voted for you, Scott, because, like I said, all of us could talk about rectums, but only you would put it in a bag.
Only I would put it in a bag, and I feel like there's some pretty smart thinking with that. But we're going to find out together now as I play it, so enjoy this mashup from Jamie. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
It's crucial.
Who was gaming?
Oh, turned into an L.
The smuggler's always like, smuggling's great. I got all this cash. Oh, I'm dead. That's every smuggling story.
You want to touch my pee-pee? You want to touch my pee-pee? It's only a matter of time before somebody jams their man wiener in there. It's just him on the side going, and everything, coming into his mouth. You mean you don't want to touch my pee-pee?
A man wiener gets jammed into everything. Think of a thing, and a man wiener has been jammed into it.
Okay.
Just think of anything.
Let me test it. Do you think anybody's ever put their wiener in a roll of toilet paper, the roll part?
Yes, absolutely.
My gosh, you started so softball. I'm like hornet's nest, bottle of glass, barbed wire. You're like in the tube that's right next to the toilet where your pants are down already anyway?
Really? Anyway, he says he doesn't works for a marketing firm called Ampere Analytics or Analysis rather. Anal cis. Geez, Scott. But didn't he also have like two wieners or something? Or am I thinking of the wrong? I'm thinking of somebody else. One of the famous like scientist explorer types.
The problem with that is I don't know who you're thinking of.
I thought there was
I got nothing.
Chat room says I'm thinking of Alan Tudyk. No, I'm not. I am definitely not thinking of old Alan Tudyk. That's wild. I had no idea that was a thing. That's amazing. And you know what? I came before V Rising got its freaking
Wow,
fangs
you were
into
really
me.
excited about that tip, Scott.
What I meant. What
You know
I meant
what?
to do.
I came. Can you clip that out? You should clip that out.
But anyway, what I was gonna say
So
is,
matter of fact, it's just like
I don't want to belittle anybody, but it seems like Newton or somebody had like its second ween. What
I don't want to Google who's the one that had
I know.
two.
Rasputin had enough ween for you could say 6 wieners. Like they preserved it and pickled it.
Whoa, really?
It's massive.
I
do
found
play
it.
into
Is this real?
It's real. Rasputin had a gigantic dong.
You don't buy a
want a
bag of potato
legendary
chips at a
pork
store and
chop.
go, gosh, I hope these are the potato chips I wanted, not somebody's rectum, Like you don't.
Somebody wrecked.
I can't think of another
Scott's
thing.
like, what's another food? Rectum. What else could be in a bag of chips that is edible? I need a rectum.
Big bag of rectums. I don't know how that works. It was me. All right. Finally,
That was like a Scott. You know, they do episodes, an ensemble cast, and it focuses on one character. That was a Scott ass episode.
That was very
Yeah,
Scott
that was
heavy.
good.
I've never heard John laugh harder than that I came
Oh my
thing.
gosh, it was so funny.
You know what?
It
I
got
laugh like that.
funnier to me
Anyway,
because,
you're
yeah,
right.
you were just so calm about it, and you stopped at the perfect part. You just like, and you know what? I came.
Yeah, and then
You were
was
clearly
like,
going to say a full sentence, but then started into a second sentence.
yeah, my
but
brain went someplace else. It couldn't have been a dumber place to pause, but
it hit too hard to ignore.
yeah, and I don't want to change it. I'm never going back in time to change it. We're leaving it the way it is. Here's an email from a listener. That's where we're at now, everybody. To do that, we have to do this.
That's a good question.
There we go. Talktothecore@gmail.com. Christopher Bierge wrote in. He says, "Hi, guys. Love the podcast. Feel free to cut up the email if it's too long." It's totally fine. He says, regarding Bo doing programming again, do you recognize the feeling of having to be productive/efficient with your time rather than doing a hobby purely for fun? In our society, we are taught to monetize all of our skills, and it takes away from our enjoyment of our hobbies, or at least alters the nature of them. It says, I know I am writing to 3 guys who make money from hobby activities like gaming, YouTube, podcasting, and creative art. But I hope you get my meaning, that it can be hard to keep a hobby purely for enjoyment and don't think it's failing of anyone. Anyway, but rather
it's failing of anyone.
A failing of theirs. I get it now. But rather an unhealthy tendency in our society. I'd love to hear your takes on this. Again, love your guys' content, and I've been listening since the beginning. Vienlig Hilsen. Kind regards, Christopher. I don't know where he's from. Sounds like Sweden or Switzerland or something.
You're Christopher Björk. Definitely
probably Sweden. Anyway, it's an interesting take. Before we I want Bo's take on this for the programming thing, but I definitely feel this when it comes to, like, even buying Final Fantasy Retrograde or whatever. Just now.
Every time.
What's it called? Regrade?
It's gonna be called. We accept. We'll accept
Okay.
it.
You
As
can
like
call it retrograde. We know what you're talking
Two-button
about.
Terry. Ever since I bought it here, my brain has been poking at me going, do you feel like you have to stream that? Do you have to stream it? Do you have to stream it?
Yeah.
Can I just enjoy it without streaming it, brain? Like I argue with myself about this stuff all the time. And as much, I like streaming just for the fun of streaming. But a game like this, I'd probably rather just play it and not think about that or have people in the audience you know what I'm saying? So it's always a little torn on that. So I totally feel his whole point here. But Bo, to the programming part of it, do you think that's part of this, like why you're back into it? And
I couldn't even pee my pants without thinking, if there's a reason to bring this up on Core, maybe I will.
There you go.
But yes, like it's definitely warped me for sure, because stuff feels like content. Like sometimes I'll watch a YouTube video, and I'll be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have watched this. I should watch this with chat room." Even stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's a little brain warping right now because, when I remember being into Magic cards a lot, it was like I wasn't streaming it or doing it for anyone. I was just hanging out, sorting my cards, reading the rules, brewing decks. It just had there was an end goal to bring it to play with friends or to do something with it. But that's affected me over the past little while for sure. Like everything is kind of content.
For me, that's been that way for years. Like there was a time where WoW stopped being, because I just loved playing it and I wanted to be in that world. It went from that to, nope, this is a job now. And as a job, it means you got to play when you don't feel like it, and you got to raid when you don't want to, and, just kind of that stuff. And it felt like it just took a little piece of, not innocence, that's not the word, like this, the magic of it was no longer in the playing of it. It was now relegated to now I got to figure out how to monetize, or I got to put this on the show, or I got to do this thing. Thankfully, the instance barely ever made any money ever, so I kind of still did it for the love of the game. But, but yeah, I think this is a thing. I don't know that it's a broken part of society. I just think we're just in an era where, because this stuff can be presented as content and in a meaningful way, you can build a career around it potentially. You have to know. I feel like maybe knowing that going in is a healthy thing. Knowing that your love of video games may get a little tarnished because now, does anybody ever think that what's his name, Ninja, really likes to just chill out and play Fortnite on a Friday? No. Yeah. He plays it because he has to play it, because if he doesn't play it, his core fan base will be pissed. I don't think he wants to be anywhere near that game he would love a giant break from it. And that's why you do see those guys play other games and do other things and branch out or whatever when they can. But their core audience demands them. We'll get back in there and start, sniping heads in the game we all came here for. That's a lot of pressure, and it just takes the fun right out of it, I think. So
yeah, I mean, we had a conversation somewhat adjacent to this weekend started. We're still having it, and it's definitely one of those things. I try to keep it in the back of my mind because I know how I can get about things, and it's not just about gaming and streaming. Like, that's what we can talk to because it's what we probably do the most. But I think a lot of people do it with their hobbies. People will say, because there's such a buy-in to so many things, like, oh, I'm going to get into painting. Here's what I need to buy to paint. Here's why it's okay that I'm going to spend that money, because this is how I'm going to make it up. Like, this is how I'll recoup costs and justify it. And it's like, it's something I try to always keep in the forethought. Like, if I can't set aside X amount of time to do something just because I love it, like, when am I going to set that time aside?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's important to have. Now, that doesn't mean that always has to be the case. Like, I work a part-time job and make money from doing streams, stuff like that. Like, it's definitely, it can feel almost like a panhandler situation where it's just like, what can I do to get money? Do you want to hear a joke? Twitch, I'll tell you a joke, give me some money for it. Like, it can get that way, and when it feels that way, like, it can definitely enhance that feeling of like, oh, I bought this, so I have to stream it, or oh, I have a feeling about this video, so I have to do a reaction video to it and stuff like that. It just gets in your head, because before I was a stay-at-home dad, just trying to get whatever extra income I had, I was working a 9 to 5, and I know what that's like, and I know what it's like to try to get out of it and try and kind of burst that bubble where you can sustain yourself in a way that you would enjoy more. And it's tricky to navigate. I still don't think I have it right. So, it's ongoing trying to figure out that balance. Like I said, we were talking about it this weekend, and it was very clear that, my perceptions were different from other people's as we talked about it. And it's not to say I was right, they're wrong, or vice versa. It's a tricky subject to be in content creation and stuff like that, and to sometimes just do something for the sheer joy of doing it.
Yeah, I've been doing this stuff like we're doing tonight for almost 20 years now, which just sounds insane, but that's pretty close to where we're at. And I still feel like I'm trying to figure it out, still trying to figure out what that balance is. But the biggest place I probably struggle, maybe this will help some people out there, on the artist side of things, half of what I do is the art side, and the other half is, shows and content creation of other kinds. I have to really work on myself to draw for me. When I draw anything, I always have this in my head of like, well, I gotta put this up and I'm done. It's got to be on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else. Everyone needs to see it, even if it's not a thing that meant to make any money. I feel like I have to go into immediate share mode, and I don't know how to. That's really hard for me. There have been times where I've done it, but I'm like, I just need to be sketching, doodling, and keeping this stuff to myself. I don't know why I need to show everybody every time I do it. But you get in this mode of like, well, I'll sell prints, and I have, people have general interest in the work, so they're going to want to go to a site where they can see it all. And so it's good for me to put it in these places. And it is, like, from a business standpoint, it is. But there are those times where I'm like, I just need to draw, and that's it, But it's still hard for me. Last night, that Wastelander cultist dude I did, here, chat, you can see it. So I'm even doing it now. But when I did that originally, I was like, this is just for me. I didn't do this for a project, didn't do it for commission. I just needed to, get some art out, and I like this theme, and I like Wastelander stuff, and our D&D campaign centered around this sort of thing. So I was just feeling inspired, and so I sat down and did it. And then when I was done, I was like, oh, I gotta share this around. I just couldn't help it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And we didn't help necessarily because we saw it and we were like, put it in the campaign.
Yeah.
That's a D&D character right there. Kill Nash immediately. I have to play this guy. Who's this guy? Tell us about him. Like, it's one of the, because I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool character, but it's the same sort of ideas. Like, oh, look, let's turn it into something right off the bat.
Yeah. So there's a balance there, and I think it can kind of go both ways. But to John's point, and then I want to ask Bo a question about this, but I guess my overall take is try the best you can to figure out a way not to ruin your favorite thing, and just because it's a thing you have to do instead of want to do. It's just tricky and hard, and I feel for everybody trying to do it. I feel like I found an okay balance, but like John said, I still don't have it exactly right. Still trying to figure it out. So, Bo, this programming thing strikes me as you figuring out a thing that isn't going to be content other than us talking about it here. So maybe it is content, but you know what I mean? Like, this is just you going, I just want to program again. I want to dink around. It's not like you're going, my goal is to have a giant RPG ready to play in 3 years and I'll have it on Steam before, like, you're not doing that as far as I know.
No. It was really just a brain cleanse most of all. Like, that was the idea. It was just like, I need to stop consuming content about irrelevant stuff being made to be like so important.
Yeah.
And like, learning can be a hobby. There's lots of people late in life pick up new hobbies. I think the big one is to get into woodworking for a lot of us. You hit your 40s or 50s, you get that garage finally, and then you start putting all kinds of woodworking equipment in there, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, those are hobbies, right? Like, cleaning your car. Some people, that's their hobby every weekend. I don't know. It's just something you do that's relaxing, that puts you at peace, that fills the time, and there's no pressure. I just think, I don't have enough time in a week. I really want to quit this full-time job. Like, I just have tons of things. I like music. I want to make every second week. I'm like, what if I made a song? And then, and I don't get around to it because I'm so busy. Even just reading.
Same.
I used to be a very avid reader.
Same.
And I just feel like all this tech has really distracted me from. I'm trying to, I think, figure out a way to do like good time hygiene, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Like, block off 2 hours, practice guitar.
I agree.
Block off 2 hours, read.
We could all use that.
Right. I mean, I've always had a lot of aspirations to write. I've got a shelf full of writing from my 20s and late 20s, and I kind of gave up on it. There's a part, you're never too old to write a great novel. Like, a lot of writers peak in their later life, not in their early life.
Sure.
And so, when I think, and again, that's very careerist, almost thinking right there. Like, but even just writing for the pleasure of doing it. Mike and Crofton have been talking a lot about doing stand-up.
Really? Oh, I'd love to hear how
that. They're in their 40s,
go.
and like, we're just so funny. Why don't we do stand-up? And I'm like, yeah, go do 5. Like, they're like, wow, I gotta write bits, and I'm like, you should just like try and book somewhere. Like, just go up and eat shit. Like, just do it.
Just
like,
go to an open mic night. Just do
stop
it.
procrastinating. Like, you need to just do it. But they kind of want to do it, and I secretly want to get sucked into it as well, although I don't really want to do stand-up. But
Crofton has a natural knack for this stuff too. Like,
he'd be
I could see
both
it.
him and Mike as well. Mike's like cantankerous, so he'd have his own. I think they both have their own style.
I'd watch a whole sitcom with you guys in it. Canadian sitcom with you and your two buddies.
We've batted that idea around too.
CanCon.
Yeah, let's make a bad show.
Yeah.
We've batted those ideas around too and had those jokes, but we just, I don't know. I think it's I mean, I fully encourage them to go try some stand up anyways. I'd be there for it. But time and having a huge appetite to want to do everything. I think that's also, but like, for hobbies like reading is so important, man.
Yeah, reading is great.
So like unable to read
Keeps you sharp. Keeps you
Did that answer your question?
cognitively.
I don't know.
I think so.
The programming came from that. It just came from
It was a brain cleanse, like you said.
like, I think for a lot of, if you're just learning from scratch, it would be one thing, but it's like, I have a pretty good foundation to build on.
Right.
In fact, I was told a lot by my dad and people around me, like, why don't you go get a computer science degree? Why don't you work in computer science? And like, all in my teens, I was like, I'm not going to grow up and work in an office, Dan. I'm not going to be one of those guys. And like, now I work in an office, but I should have taken programming because at least I'd be cooler than what I'm doing. I'm doing like the worst shit.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Well, it's better than
Being a chronically stubborn person is my cross to bear.
Yeah, a big old cross on your back. That's fine. We're here to help you carry it. All right, let's move on to this email. One short one from Zach who says, pea cushion problem. That's the subject. Scott, go get a gallon jug of Nature's Miracle. Follow the directions on the bottle. You will be good to go. I had lots of dogs. This works well with getting rid of the smell. It uses enzymes to break down the urea. or the
Yeah,
Pepsi, as
keep it
Bo
away
would say.
from your sodas, or you'll have no more sodas.
What
Yeah.
is Nature's Miracle? Is that
It's an actual clean. Now I've heard of this
Like
stuff
a
before.
okay? So it's a cleaning product and not like a euphemism for something.
I always thought
no.
Nature's Miracle was water.
Right. Well, it kind of is in some ways, but naturesmiracle.com or Amazon or wherever you get this stuff. I've heard of this stuff before. I don't think we've ever bought it because we haven't had this problem. And the couch we got is not even our dog. It's the previous owner's dog. And Kim used some kind of orange smelling thing that kind of worked, but now everything smells intensely of orange.
Yeah.
So I don't know yet how we're feeling, but maybe I'll just get a jug of this stuff. And it says here, trust the miracle. That's their thing. That's a lot to ask. Trust the miracle. Because miracles are, at their nature, often untrustworthy. But anyway, we'll see what I can do. I'll let you know. Thank you, Zach, for the information. Before we get out of here, a quick reminder that the show is supported entirely on the backs of wonderful listeners like yourselves who throw us a couple of bucks here and there. Like some recent ones like Sean Whittier, Stephen Radke, Nick Palnermo, I think I'm saying that right, Raul Zerbato, Weston Wright, and Isaac Shank. That's a great name, Shank. Those guys bellied up and contributed to the show here recently. If you want to be like them and be read on the show, but also just, know that you're supporting your favorite podcast and getting cool benefits to do so, head on over to patreon.com/core show and sign up today. More details at frogpants.com/core, including ways to contact us and everything else. Keep those emails coming. talktothecore@gmail.com. All right, that's it. We got to do words of wisdom. John, we always start with you. What do you got over there, dude?
Well, it was very popular last week. It's always a demand to know what we talked about, so I will bring out Martha to discuss the games we had today.
Oh, fantastic.
Let's see, today we talked about several games. We talked about Iconoclasts, and I remember seeing them open for Bobby Darin back in the day. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. That's what my husband did when he was just waking up in the middle of the night at 7:30. Playing around in Forza. Oh, I shouldn't just read what Scott wrote. I should just say the name of the game. Forza. Forza is going to get a Hot Wheels thing, so he's playing it. That's what you need to know. Super Ember Kaboom is words that you can put together and make a video game. You've also got Final Fantasy VII, Intergrade or Retrograde, depending on who you ask, and the original, which came out a long-ass time ago. John played a mobile game. Good for him. It was Final Fantasy Tactics and Grim Dawn, which is still a very stupid name. Bo played Gordian Quest. It just sounds like a bowel obstruction, and V Rising, which sounds like another part of the body. That's what we talked about today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Wow. Salty Martha with her recap. Bo, anything to add to that?
Make some time to read.
Oh, that's
Remember to
great.
read.
That's a great
Words of
idea.
wisdom.
I'm with you. I'm going to read tonight. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I might be a comic book, but, we'll see. That'll do it for us. Thanks for being here. We'll be back next week with more. In the meantime, go play some games. We'll talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
If Jeeble is responsible for the summoning, then I have to stop him.
Guy's name is Jeeble.